Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Bargain Bin, a show all about speed-running games all under $20. My name is Midnight Vesper, and I will be your host for this show. If you're new here, here's how it works. From our current/digital games, we'll be using stores like Steam, GOG, itch.io, Ubisoft, Epic, etc. to look at the list/MSRP price. For retro games, we'll be using the website pricecharting.com and looking at the loose price of the game. We do not count any sales or discounts as they vary from the time of purchase. Couple announcements real quick. Summer Games Done Quick 2021 online surprise submissions are now open. Go to gamesdonequick.com to find out all about submitting prizes for the event. Frame Fatales, the all-woman speedrunning event, will be returning on August 15th to the 21st with Frame Fatales. You can go to gamesdonequick.com/framefatales for more information on the upcoming event. And of course, if you're watching this on YouTube and would like to support our live content, please consider checking out our Twitch channel at twitch.tv/GDQ. And of course, if you have an Amazon Prime account, you can subscribe to any Twitch channel of your choice every month for free. Please consider using your Prime game account to subscribe to the GDQ Twitch channel. And on today's show, we have an amazing family-based show. It's going to be 3 runs with 1 game, Unravel 2. We're going to have a solo run, a co-op run, and then all bonus level run. All 3 different ways you can speedrun Unravel 2. So let's go ahead and get this going with our first run of the evening. Riles, how are you doing on this Wednesday?
I'm doing really well, thank you, Midnight Vesper. I'm Riles. I am joined, I do want to throw that out, by my cat, Eclipse, who is on the cat tree behind me. You might be able to see him behind my head. And my brother is here right now, Ryan, aka This Guy Are Sick. How are you, Ryan?
Can't believe the cat got top billing.
Sorry.
I unmuted myself in anticipation of I am joined by, and then it was the cat. All right, I'm fine.
Good. That's good.
I'll recover from that.
That's good. But yeah, Ryan and I both run this game. I run the solo route because, as Ryan likes to point out, I don't have friends. I'm going to steal that joke from him before he can say it. Ryan runs the co-op route with his wife, who will join us in a little while. But this is Unravel 2. This is the pause menu. I'm running on Switch, the any % no major skips. Ray is in the chat with a cool cat emote. But Unravel 2, one of the really fun things about these little yarnies is you can change their appearance. We run on fresh files, which means I have very few options. But the bonus levels that you'll see at the end of the night is how you unlock other appearances. But what I do have right now are lots of fun colors. So I basically always run with these 2 colors right here. There's a little bit of this opening cutscene left, and then I will give a countdown when that is done to start. But Ryan, is there anything that we should make sure we say about the run before things get going?
Nothing I can think of. I'll fill people in as we move along.
All right, very cool. So I'll unpause, and I'll give a countdown here in just a second. All right, so we'll get going in 3, 2, 1, go. So the first thing to note about Unravel 2 is, as a single player game, you have to manage both of these little yarny creatures. And what you can do is merge them together. So I did that right off the bat. And I'll spend as much time as I can merged into one little guy, because you can only control one yarny at a time. So when you're separated, you have to switch between the 2.
Yeah, Unravel 2 is designed to be a co-op game. It's designed to be a 2-player game, but Unravel 1 was exclusively a solo game. So with Unravel 2, they kept that solo functionality. So it's still a really popular solo puzzle platformer. It's just there's an added level of complexity and difficulty, for lack of a better term, because you have to do 2 people's work all kind of at the same time. But you can do the entire game by yourself without any real added challenges outside of just having to be able to do everything that 2 people would normally do by yourself.
Yeah, but it's a super fun game. It is a puzzle platformer, so we'll be solving puzzles as we go, doing lots of jumps, sliding and jumping off walls like right here. But it's a super fun game, solo or co-op, and it's available on basically every system. I'm playing on Switch, which is probably the slowest for speedrunning. And it's also the ugliest. So if you think it looks nice now, just wait for Ryan and Ray's run later, and it will be gorgeous.
Yeah, the Switch version is kind of unique, actually. There are a few really minor design differences, level design differences for the Switch version that aren't present in the other versions. Casually, you would never notice it, but it does make the speedrun ever so slightly different. Not enough that it gets its own category or anything like that. It's not worth changing anything. But Switch is definitely its own thing. But yeah, like Ryle said, you can play it on PC. The game was developed by an indie developer called Coldwood Studios. They are Swedish, but it was published by EA. So the game is on Steam, but if you purchase it on Steam, all that Steam does is launch Origin. So you have to have an Origin account to play it on PC, but it's also on PlayStation and Xbox as well. So yeah, literally every console under the sun you can play this game on, and it's great.
So right here is one of our first real tricks. We have to split, and Ryan, I'm going to let you explain this.
Yeah, okay, so
better than I do.
We call this puzzle log hat, and the way you're supposed to do it is weigh that log down with the Yarny that climbed up first by standing on top of the log all the way over to the right. But since that takes forever and is boring, we don't. Instead, you let the log fall down on top of the Yarny's head, hence the name log hat, and it gives you just enough room to have the other Yarny climb up and re-merge, and then you can kind of proceed on. It saves several seconds, so that's one of several examples of as Riles does the run. The run itself is glitchless. There are no glitches that Riles will be doing. There are a few glitches that are available to solo runners, but this is the no major skips category, so he doesn't do any of those. In the no major skips category for co-op, there are glitches, just no major ones. Hence the name. Anyway, but what we will see are several puzzles that are solved more quickly than the developers intended. So it's not a glitch, it's just being smarter than the devs. I shouldn't say that. The puzzle design is brilliant, so I would never be so bold as to say that we're smarter than the devs. We just broke their game. Sorry about it.
To explain some of the mechanics that we're doing, so you can tie knots to various points, which is what I just did to create a bridge that then also acts as a trampoline. And you can also just tether yourself to those knots. So you can see there's a yarn wrapped around those sticks, and that's what you can kind of connect yourself to. The other important thing to note is the Yarnies are always connected to each other by a string. And by holding your left trigger, you can have the Yarnies climb that string or drag each other around. And those are really the base mechanics. Other than that, it's mostly just jumping. There are spots that have these sort of arrow things that you can climb on the net in the background. That will come up a few times. And then we use that ability to hold the string between the Yarnies to swing without anchor points, which is what this entire section of this first chapter teaches us.
And one thing that's kind of noteworthy, I suppose, to mention, the way the solo mechanic works for this game, Riles does have to manually change control. He can only control one of the Yarnies at a time. I know that's not universal. Just off the top of my head, there's a game that came out earlier this year called Phogs, Phogs, where you are a two-headed dog. It's like cat dog, but instead of cat dog, dog dog. If anybody ever watched that show, and I know for that game, if you play it solo, you control one head with one of the joysticks on your controller and the other head with the other joystick. So it's separated left and right hemisphere. With this, you use the entire controller for each Yarny, and there's a button on your controller that just changes which Yarny you're controlling at any given moment. So Riles, in doing this, is only moving one character at a time, but he's switching control back and forth really, really quickly to just minimize time spent standing around. So we're getting close to the end of chapter 1 here. Just one screen left, really. Nice swing. So now that we're at the end of the kind of tutorial chapter, for lack of a better term, what's going on with the game? What is this game about? So the Yarnies are shipwrecked on this island, and right now you see them arriving at a lighthouse. The reason that they're shipwrecked, there's a cutscene at the very beginning that we just mashed through that you didn't see because Riles was already kind of in the opening cutscene that follows that by the time we got here. But yeah, there's an opening cutscene that shows the Yarnies on a boat, and the boat is in some turbulent waters, and it crashes. And the reason it crashes is because there is no light in the lighthouse. So our job is to fix the lighthouse, and to do that, we're going to have to make our way to the top, because, as everyone knows, because you're all lighthouse mechanics, right? As everyone knows, to fix a lighthouse, you got to get to the top of it, because that's where the light is. And to get to the top, you have to go through 7 individual chapters. There's 7 levels in this game. Well, 7 chapters. There's 3, whatever. 7 chapters. And that completing the chapters allows you to climb to the top of the lighthouse. There's also 20 challenge levels, which you'll see Ray and I do at the end of the show. That'll be the last thing that we do after we do our own co-op run. And there's also sort of a B plot that we're going to get introduced to at the beginning of this chapter coming up in chapter 2, and I'll explain that as well. But the primary plot that we're following here is the Yarnies' journey to fix the lighthouse so that other ships don't crash on this island.
Yeah.
Exactly. Just change the bulb. It's just like a flashlight, right? It can't be that much different.
Not at all. Fun fact, that was a gold chapter 1, so we're off to a good start.
Nice. And
I have it on good authority that Riles PB'd earlier today in his practice for this. So maybe
Yes.
two PBs in one day.
Maybe.
Anyway, so this is chapter 2, and what we're about to see is these shadowy figures in the background. These will become mainstays. This is what appears to be a teenage girl, and she is trying very hard to get out of this building. It's never clearly explained what's going on here, but the gist that we've sort of decided is that this teenager is in some sort of an abusive situation in a foster home or something like that. And she wants out. So she's busting out of here, and what we're going to see here in just a little bit is a friend of hers arrive to help her in that endeavor. And the Yarnies, as we kind of make our way through the game, are also going to assist our teenagers in their flight to freedom.
Yeah.
I'm unclear. Oh, yeah, go.
Really quick. Here's another mechanic that pops up frequently. There were these 2 sparkles on either side that we just connected by having 1 Yarny at each. That's a common puzzle throughout this game, where it's gonna force us to separate our Yarnies and go to these 2 different spots.
Yep.
So you'll see us solve that situation a few times.
Yep. Yeah, and after he stood in those 2 individual light things, you may have noticed there were some black spiky vines, thorny vines that were covering the window. Those dissolved, and after they dissolved, our teenage friend's friend showed up and opened the window and let her out. So that was the dissolution, is that a word? It's got to be a word, right? The dissolution of the vines were necessary for the friend to be able to get in, through the window. So I'm actually a little unclear as to whether the Yarnies are deliberately assisting the teenagers in the background. I have no idea if they even are aware that they're doing anything for them, because every time we help the kids out, we're also just helping ourselves out. Like, we can't proceed until we do this. Oh. All right, so this is kind of a cool skip that Riles is attempting right now.
And we've got all sorts of time, so I'm gonna
Yeah.
go for it a few times.
So what you're supposed to do, Ryle's demonstrated building a bridge. You're supposed to lower one Yarny down here, Mission Impossible style, and then build a bridge so that it's safe to drop down. But if you're real fast and real careful with your movement, you can do that. Nice. So yeah, you can use your momentum to get forward just enough to drop straight down the chute and then onto safety without getting electrocuted.
And it's a weird one because I don't know if because you guys do it completely differently in the co-op run.
Yes.
Because you actually do have to hit right on the joystick again. But you have to wait long enough, otherwise you just run into that wall at the top. So it's not just momentum, it's a really frustrating trick to get, but it looks super sick, and so I always like to go for it.
So close. You got a good jump on the box, though. So we're now introduced to the bad guys, the enemies, whatever, of this game. We call them cigarettes, and Riles was kind enough to demonstrate what happens when you touch them. Fun fact. Oh, no. Fun fact. Yarn is flammable. That's what we're learning again. And the cigarettes are quite deadly. So just, don't touch them. Is the moral of that story. And they're a mainstay throughout the course of the game. Later chapters introduce greater and greater amounts of fire, which is always fun. It's just sort of an added wrinkle on top of the traditional, puzzles that you see in a puzzle platformer. Just another element of danger. Yeah, Riles mentioned that we do one of those previous puzzles differently in the co-op run. That'll be a very common refrain. The co-op run does almost none of the puzzles in the intended way, and you'll see that later. But there is a glitch in the game that allows us to just do kind of whatever we want. So I always tell people if they are interested in playing this game casually and they don't want it spoiled for them, don't watch the solo route, because it's basically glitchless and a lot of the stuff is as intended. Feel free to watch a co-op run, though, because there's nothing you'll be able to take away from it for a casual playthrough.
Yeah, the co-op solutions are entirely different. The solo run is, like Ryan said, is a lot of intended. There's a few things that we do not intended, but for the most part, we just play the game as fast as we can.
Yep.
In this category, I should say, the any percent category, the split happened because of actually a trick that you can do with this skateboard right here.
Yeah, right here. There's a thing called skateboard skip where basically you turn this skateboard into a rocket ship. There's through a series of weird inputs, you can get that skateboard to pick up the Yarnies and literally just fling them an indeterminate distance forward, and it's really hard to do kind of on command. So you'll see people spend several minutes attempting skateboard skip, and sometimes people will do runs for 3 hours and never make it past this point because they can't get a good skateboard skip. Mm-hmm. But you can also try it for 3 or 4 minutes, and if you get a good enough one, those 3 or 4 minutes end up being a net time save, because it saves so much time over the course of the rest of this chapter. A really good skateboard skip will fling you to the very end of the level, and it saves, 7 or 8 minutes probably. It's enormous.
So
and
that was my average time for this chapter is about 15 minutes, and we're only about 8 minutes into it right now. So with a good skateboard skip, you skip half the chapter.
Yeah. It's pretty wild. And that, like Ryle said, that single thing was the reason that the solo any percent and solo NMS categories were split off, because it's such a huge thing. And in addition to it just being a huge time save, there was also an element of people just didn't want to grind skateboard skips anymore. It made it really frustrating if you just couldn't get a good one. They're like, I kind of want to do the other 5 chapters of the game now. So the new category was born. And there are a couple other opportunities for those huge flings. There's actually one near the very beginning of chapter 1, which we already saw. There's a log that you can do the same thing with. You actually fling yourself backwards, and it takes you so far backward that the level wraps around, and you end up at the end of the chapter. So, yeah, it's super broken.
Yeah. Spike the Fox, we did do this recently at a mid-spring speed fling. So if you watched that, you would have seen me playing and Ryan commentating at that as well.
Oh, that's true. We did, didn't we?
Yes.
And this was again the co-op run. My wife Ray and I run it. We ran it at ESA, summer ESA a few months ago. It was summer, right? No, winter ESA a few months ago. Summer ESA has yet to happen. And we've run it at a couple other events as well. So it's been around. It's a really, really great game. This is by a pretty wide margin my favorite speed game. Because it's a beautiful game. The graphics are amazing. The music is gorgeous. But the gameplay itself is really fluid and just kind of aesthetically pleasing. It feels really good. Oh no! It feels really good to speedrun the game. It feels really fast. Because some speed games you play, and there's a lot of kind of janky, weird, uncomfortable movements and inputs and things like that that are just not that enjoyable to do, right? But you do it for the sake of speed. Unravel 2 is not one of those games. Everything about this speed run I just really like. It feels very natural, and I think it is similarly really pleasant to watch the speed run. So yeah, I love everything about this game. I am such a stan for this game, and I will make no apologies for it.
I will say, just watching it, it's such a beautiful, as like you were saying, aesthetically pleasing, coming from someone who's kind of coming in cold and stuff like that. It's one of those games that's always been on my radar because of the look and the appeal of it. Not just because of the puzzle platform, not just because of the gameplay, but the uniqueness of the yarn.
Yeah.
Come on.
Oh my gosh, Stugatz is right. They do. Pain and Panic from Hercules. Oh man, I love that movie. They kind of do. They kind of do look like them. Speaking of, one
Hercules?
of the things that no. Well, kind of. Speaking of what the Yarnies look like is where I was going. One of the things that we talk about a lot is how big are the Yarnies? Does anybody know? Because I don't. I'm fairly convinced that the Yarnies' size is kind of dynamic based upon just how big they need to be.
However, on the topic of how big are the Yarnies, if you pay really close attention, you'll actually notice if they get very far apart from each other, or if you're using a lot of their yarn for something, they actually get thinner. Which it just, again, is one of those details that doesn't directly affect the gameplay in any way, shape, or form. But the studio just did such a good job at making this game feel right.
Yeah, they really did. And another thing that you don't really notice in the speedrun, because we don't stand still long enough for it to happen, but there's little, it's not AI, I'm not really sure what to call it, but there are little idle animations that the Yarnies have. If somebody does a really good swing, the other Yarnie that's standing still will jump up and down in celebration because they're happy for their Yarnie friend.
Which honestly is a pain in the butt in the solo run.
If you are trying to merge to the other Yarnie from too far away, the Yarnie that is being merged to will gesture to the other Yarnie to come closer. Little things like that are just, it's really adorable, and it's so wholesome, and I love it so much. So we're coming up on the end of chapter 2 here. This is a weird puzzle. All these little air cannons. It's just, it's not that hard. It's just kind of confusing, I guess. But that is the last puzzle of chapter 2.
It is nice you only have to get one of them to the top of the room.
Yes.
For a while, we didn't know that, and so we were waiting for both Yarnies to go through all those air cannons. I don't remember who realized it, but
I'm not sure. But there again in the background, you've got our teenage friends sort of hiding out, I suppose, kind of seeking refuge. But as the next chapter will show, they do not get to stay there for very long. I don't know why, but
that's true. I don't know why they leave here.
Yeah, that beats me. I mean, I assume someone lives here. So maybe they're squatting in someone's attic. That's one of the things. This will come up again later, but I mean, teenagers leaving an abusive situation, objectively a good thing. Like, they're the good guys. Well, the moral of the story when it comes to this game is adults are bad. So what Riles is doing here, he is quitting to the start screen and then reloading his file. He does that to skip the post-chapter cutscene. So there was a cutscene after chapter 1 that we watched, and it basically just shows the little fairy light thing that follows us around and shows us where to go. It shows that flying through the lighthouse and putting color into paintings on the wall, which is it's really cool to watch, but it's also lengthy. Every one of those cutscenes, because there's one of those cutscenes that's very similar after every chapter, and we skip all of them, with the exception of the very first one after chapter 1. And we would skip that one if we could. You just can't. I don't know why, but after the first chapter, that one is unskippable. If you quit to the start screen and reloaded, it would just reload the cutscene. You have to watch it. But all the other ones can be skipped. And despite the load times, especially on slower consoles like the Switch, the load times can be really killer. Despite the load times, it is faster to do that than to watch the whole cutscene. So that's why we do that. Anyway, I got sidetracked a little bit. It'll come up later, but there are a couple of moments in the game that sort of make you pause and think to yourself, are we entirely sure that we're rooting for these kids? Because I don't know that I am, but we'll get there. Yeah, big swing. Nice job. I love that big swing.
I do want to point out, and I knew you talking about like some of the certain animations, how they kind of like reach for each other, during all of that. At the beginning of this scene where they fist bump, I just thought that was adorable.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. when the Yarnies come in or out of the portals at the beginning and end of levels, I love their little interactions, and it's always, if you watch, one of the colors is always like, hey, let's go on an adventure, and the other color is always super ready to go back to the lighthouse at the end of the chapter. So they each have kind of their own independent personality, which I really appreciate.
So this is chapter 3, obviously, because that's what comes after 2. Chapters 3 and 4 are my favorite chapters in the game because they're the most like delightful and sort of happy. There's a lot of sunlight, there's fun music, people seem to be having a good time. Say hello to the hedgehog in the background. After chapter 4, it gets a little bit dark.
Yeah.
I mean, comparatively, nothing in this game is actually that dark. This isn't like, The Last of Us or anything. But, yeah, there's a lot more fire after chapter 4. So here we have another one of these examples of the 2 lights that the Yarnies have to stand in, and more, black, smoky vine things. So we're going to get rid of those, and it'll let us proceed.
And in all these cutscenes, you can start moving the Yarnies before they're on camera. So a lot of these, I am trying to get some movement done before you can actually see what's going on. Which in the single player is sometimes frustrating, because if you don't know exactly which Yarnie you're controlling, you're not always doing the movement you think you are. Little trampoline here. And you do have to hit a button to untie any knots you make, which is going to be important later. So I choose when that happens for basically the entire game. There's one spot where it happens automatically.
There's a beautiful, majestic horse in the background here.
2 of them, 2 horses in the background.
Yeah, two horses. Big antlers, beautiful horse.
Yeah, they'll be even closer pretty soon. Here, we'll get a really good look at our horses right here. Cresting that hill, beautiful horse.
It's just amazing.
All right, now we're. Oh yeah, it's great. So now we're going underground. We won't ever really find out about this because again, we're not going to stand still at all. But the bioluminescent green stuff here in these caves, you can hide out from the cigarettes in there, and they can't see you. So you can just hang out in there, and you'll be totally safe. But we don't care about safety. We care about speed.
Speed.
We got 1 speed and 1 speed only, and that is kind of fast.
We skipped most of this room.
Yeah.
If I do it right.
Hopefully. Oh, now you're on the clock.
There we go.
Cigarettes coming for you.
I'm gonna have to wait on him just a minute.
Yeah. So Riles is now going to take the opportunity to hide out, and eventually the cigarettes give up and go home, which is nice because if they just stayed there, we'd be in trouble.
One thing that I don't think we've talked about that's happened a few times.
First, there is a universal emote that Twitch has that is a turkey. If everyone could break out the universal turkey emote in chat right now, that would be lovely because it is now turkey time.
It is turkey time.
Anyway, sorry, you were saying, Riles.
Yes. There is a little animation that happens sometimes. The game wants to make it happen a lot, where your Yarnies fall over. And you have to wait for them to get back up. There are a few ways we can skip that. Either by splitting our Yarnies, in which case one of them will be safe and can keep moving. Or sometimes if you jump at the right time, you can avoid it. Oh, I didn't do that quite right.
Yeah, we call it fall damage, where you after falling down from a unusually high distance or sometimes not even from that high a distance, you will the Yarny hits the ground and it takes a little bit of time for the Yarny to get up. And like Riles was saying, you can, if you are merged, you can split, and the Yarny who was not in control doesn't have to wait on that fall damage. That's more beneficial in the co-op run. But then there are other times where you can, instead of splitting, you can mitigate the fall damage entirely by, jumping off of a wall or something right before you hit the ground, so that the game just doesn't think that you've fallen from such a great height.
What the game really likes to do is have you enter into new screens by sliding. And a lot of the times, when you get to the end of that slide, there's a trigger on the ground that makes your Yarnies fall over. But if you jump before that trigger, you can keep walking. So there's a few times where we do things like that.
Nice. I love this skip. So this turkey right here is supposed to be a lot more dangerous than it is. But there's a skip where you can fool the turkey into turning the wrong way and then literally just walk right past it. It never sees you. It is not the world's most intelligent turkey. So also, fun fact, the turkey in this level, based on a real turkey, real animal. There was a turkey in, somewhere in Western or Eastern or Northern Europe, somewhere, I don't know. The developers are Swedish, that was terrorizing a reporter, and it made the papers, and the developers saw this and thought, I need to add that bird to my video game. As you do.
Very, very, there's a lot of characters to it.
Yes. So we're going to skip a post-chapter cutscene again. I'm going to do it a few times.
Riles, do you skip them all?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Because someone did the math on certain consoles. I don't know if it's always beneficial to skip every cutscene because the cutscenes are not all of equal length. So someone had done the math at one point to determine which is actually faster.
Yeah, I have very little sample data for it. But I did sit down when we first started trying it and compared the load times on Switch to watching the cutscenes. I only did it on one run for each of mine. And it was slightly faster to skip for every single cutscene. Cool. Now, I don't know if load times on Switch are consistent, because it's really not a powerhouse of a console.
What are you talking about? The thing that's like smaller than any computer I've ever owned and smaller than some cell phones isn't the most powerful gaming console in the world? I am shocked. So you've probably noticed at this point, in addition to the teenagers we see in the background, there are also just random other people that we see in the background. They're always slightly more shadowy and kind of just grayscale. And again, it's sort of the message in an extraordinarily reductive, don't take this seriously sort of way is adults are bad. There are only two human beings we root for in this, and it's the teenagers that we're helping out along the way. Most of the adults always sort of appear to be somewhat belligerent and possibly intoxicated. So Riles is getting tangled here on this yo-yo looking thing, but it doesn't actually matter because there's a screen transition there, and you can have your yarn tangled up as long as there's a screen transition, because every time you pass through a screen, you untangle yourself. So there's no big worry there. That's yet another example of doing things differently than intended, but not actually doing any sort of glitch. Just taking advantage of the way the game was designed.
Which I would say in single player, there are almost no instances where you can tangle yourself and have it be a problem.
Yes.
In co-op, it's a little bit more of a concern.
Yes.
Because of a glitch that they employ.
I'm so excited for everyone to see it.
Yeah, if you are here for this run, stick around for the next run, because it will blow your mind. There are screens that you are going to see in this chapter especially that just don't pop up in the co-op run.
Yeah, literally just now there was just a whole screen that Riles did that you won't see again.
Yes, it will not be in the next run.
Yeah, and I hope you don't mind my super dad joke powers, because I'm going to tell all of the same jokes during our run. I got one set of jokes.
Weren't you just giving me crap about that earlier?
No, I have no idea what you're talking about.
So before the show, I was talking about as a teacher, you can find one joke at the start of the day, right? And you can say that same joke all day. And Ryan over here goes, "Are you becoming dad? That's such a terrible thing to do."
I did not say it like that. Because again, reminder, Riles is my actual younger brother. So this is a little bit, I won't call this a sibling rivalry because we don't run the same category. But there's a lot of good nature ribbing, certainly.
Yes.
Now we do
both
run the same. Yeah, you go.
We do both run Final Fantasy 1 for the PSP. And that we have raced multiple times. And are racing again this weekend. So that is a sibling rivalry.
There's a big annual Final Fantasy relay race where you get a bunch of people together and they run every single Final Fantasy game. And it lasts...
Most.
Well, okay, fine. Most of the Final Fantasy games. And it lasts 4 days. And yeah, Riles and I are both running Final Fantasy 1 for that relay this weekend. So I have yet another opportunity to kick his butt.
I'm really hoping that I start like 3 minutes after him, because it's a relay, so we won't start at the exact same time. I start like 3 minutes after him and then beat him by 3 minutes. That would make me feel really good.
It's also, I would go so far as to say likely. You are better at the game than I am. Okay, so coming up here in just a little bit, we had the turkeys in the previous chapter. In this chapter,
no!
Oh no!
My swings
Anyway.
went a little bit wild.
Yeah, shorted it, and there's no way to get up over that rowboat without just doing this whole thing over again. Oh, that stinks. Anyway, in this chapter, there is another animal foe that I contend
It's that
is
frog
far
right
more.
there. It's the frog.
Yeah, the frog. I contend is far more deadly than any turkey. Especially those turkeys. And yes, I said turkeys, plural, because I am still in it's more than one turkey camp.
It is a single turkey.
This is a point of contention. I'm alone. I'm alone on this island where I think there is more than one turkey in chapter 3. Everybody else is convinced it's the same turkey the whole time. But I know the truth. It's just one turkey. No, wait, no. I know the truth. It's multiple turkeys. No. Strike that from the record. I want this VOD deleted.
This glitches out sometimes. We're gonna hope the fish shows up for me. Sometimes he doesn't like to show up, but we have to jump
that's
on him.
weird.
There we
Boink.
go.
Anyway, that's the enemy, that fish. It'll be back in a minute. And usually no problem whatsoever. I mean, obviously we make use of the fish to progress through the level. But if you fall into the water, because Yarnies don't swim very well, you don't automatically drown if you fall into the water, but they do not move very quickly, and the fish does. So if you get wet, you're basically gonna get eaten.
Okay, Ryan says you don't automatically drown. If you don't hold a direction on the joystick while you're in the water, you drown.
Yes, this is true. You can
Yeah.
drown.
But that is the end of the fish. It got hit in the head by an oar.
No, we confirmed this. We confirmed this afternoon. The fish is not dead. The fish lives.
Yeah.
So it looks like it's dead because it flops up to the surface of the water on its side, as dead fish do. But Ray and I in a practice run, because I was convinced that the fish lives, and Ray was like, no, the fish is dead. So I took the time during a speed run of this game. I took the time to stand there and see what happens. And eventually, it takes a while, but eventually the fish gets up and swims away. So it's not dead, it is just stunned.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, which is nice. No fish were harmed in the making
The
of this
room I
video
just
game.
did, no one remembers how to solve correctly.
Yep. During my first casual playthrough of this game, we accidentally did the speed strat solution. So I don't know the way I don't know how you're supposed to do it. I've never done it. I've never done the intended method.
I always enjoy that
Anyway.
for casual playthroughs. You do something and you're like, oh, that was easy. And then you realize that was actually the speed run version of how you did it.
Hmm.
Well,
And you wanna
that's and I'll come back to this. I don't want to spoil it, so I won't talk about it now, but I will come back to it. The big glitch that makes co-op speedrunning this game not possible, but different, significantly different from solo, was discovered on accident. It kind of in the exact same way. It was discovered during a casual playthrough, and we'll talk about it during our run. But yeah, it was one of those. It's awesome. I love it when that happens. So yeah, this was chapter 4, and thus ends the happy, relaxing portion of the game.
Yeah. The next chapter is... I would not call it the most dangerous chapter, but I do think it is the worst chapter. It's just very frustrating to get through, is what I will say right now. But we're gonna ascend the lighthouse just a little bit more.
Yep. And this is as high as the elevator goes. This is not the top floor, but the elevator won't take us any higher. So after this chapter, it's all manual lighthouse climbing. Is chapter 5 the longest chapter for you, or is it chapter 2?
They're pretty similar. They're both about 15
Are they?
minutes,
Okay.
I would say.
Okay. Because for a long time, chapter 2 was the longest of the 7 chapters. At this point in the co-op run, that's not even a little bit true. Chapter 2 goes by pretty quickly. I think in the co-op run, I think Chapter 5 is now the longest. And depending on how it goes, it can be the longest by a pretty wide margin. This is a dangerous chapter.
Yeah. It's based on cycles basically the entire time. So you kind of hope that you can hit most of the cycles well, and a lot of the things just take a certain amount of time. It's just what it is. You can't do anything about it. But some of them...
Here's our first example of I'm not entirely sure I'm rooting for these kids. They just hopped a fence into what is clearly not a place that they're supposed to be. Like, and maybe they were running from something or someone. I will give them the benefit of the doubt here, but like, why? Why are we hopping a fence? What are we doing? What are we up to, kids? Come on. It's the first seed of doubt that is planted in my mind. But they're fine. I'm sure they have a good reason to be here. Anyway, sorry, you were saying cycles.
Yeah, it's just a lot of cycles, trying to make the cycles. Oh,
nice!
okay.
Nice! That cigarette kills me probably 80% of the time.
Yeah, I usually do not get that.
Oh, I'm disappointed in you.
Why?
You didn't go real fast and almost died at that very last cigarette.
Oh, sorry.
It's my favorite thing to do to stress out Ray. Is to just barely not die. And then sometimes actually die.
Here we see a kid getting taken away by, I don't know, security employee something. Whoops.
Which again, understandable, because they're probably not supposed to be here. But also, like, at this point, you expect they would, like, just call their parents or something. Instead, they lock them in an office, which is not entirely okay. So we're gonna bust them out.
Yeah. There's not a lot that happens in this factory that, like, feels legal.
Well, that was a topic of conversation for a really long time. What does this factory produce? I don't know. I don't know what this place makes.
Well, no, we do now.
Well, okay, so yeah, recently we think we figured it out. Later there will be like boxes, like packing crates with a I'm assuming a company name on the side, and then the name is Panga or something, Panga, which Ray looked up on Google Translate. It translates in Swedish to like bang or boom. And then underneath where it says Panga, there is a silhouette of something that we decided resembles pretty closely a bullet. So we think maybe this is like an ammunition, artillery, something or other manufacturing factory. But if that's the case, do they really need this much fire? That feels dangerous.
Yeah, the real thing that this factory produces is fire.
Yes.
and later in the game we will figure out where they export it to.
Also true. My favorite theory is that this is actually, they don't make anything here. It's an OSHA training facility. So all they do here is try and find new ways that you can violate OSHA regulations. I'm a big fan of that one, because everything here is an OSHA violation.
Yes.
All right, so we have a lot more fire coming up. And again, this is one of those things where, like, I wish I knew how big the Yarnies were, because if they're like the size of a grain of rice right now, then maybe this is nothing. Maybe this is just like, I don't know, the inside of a heating vent or something. But if the Yarnie is the size of like a duck, then I don't know why I picked duck. Then there's
there were just some pigeons outside. What?
That's fair. But there's no reason for something like this to exist. What is this thing? Why is the floor literally lava? I don't understand. Oh, there you go, Squacktastic. So it's like is it kind of like a sound effect? Is it like when we say pew 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 and make like laser noises? Do people just say panga instead? Oh, Ryle's got squished.
Oh, that actually makes that is very not spread. So I am a choir teacher. Is what I do when I'm not trying to play video games quickly on the internet. And I definitely did a song that I think was originally Swedish. It was translated to English, but at the end, people are like shooting rifles, and it's pang pang is what they say. So
oh, there you go.
Yeah, there we go.
Today I learned. Once again, why does this room exist? What is this place? Why is there so much fire?
For platforming. Ooh.
This is a really, really hard room, especially doing it solo. Because again, Riles has to switch back and forth the Yarny that he's controlling. So he can only move one at a time. And the fastest way to do this is slowly. Oh, so close. Just a little too high. If you try and go through this room really quickly, you will die.
I forgot to split the Yarnies in two.
Oh, nice. Happens to the best of us. Oh, the music in this game, just all the way around, is fantastic. Yes. I love all the music. They did such a great job with it.
But yeah, and the physics are also very good. And so that's like, when you move the Yarny at the top, the Yarny below swings. And so that is, if you move too quickly, you will just swing the hanging Yarny into the flame. So that is the added.
That was a good decision. That was a good decision to wait.
So now we're really getting to the portion of this level that is just cycles. So
yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming up that, depending on how quickly you get there, you can move through the section more quickly. So speed is very, very beneficial here, because more speed going in means more speed coming out.
Usually.
And what are these? I don't know what anything in this place is, other than just a walking OSHA violation. Whoa, jeez, dude. Did you do that on purpose?
A little bit.
I was 100% sure you were going to fall.
I was like 90% sure I'd be okay.
So we have more Flora's lava. It is just like, it's a lake of molten. You know what it is? This is the oh gosh, what is it? The factory at the end of Terminator 2, right? When Arnold lowers himself down into the molten lava, and that's like the only way. That's the only way they can kill the T-1000. It is the T-1000, right? Yeah, because he's the T-800. Yeah, it's the only way they can kill the T-1000 is with the molten lava, and then Arnold has to lower himself in too, because he's got the chip in his brain. Except they make oh, what's his name? John Connor. Who plays John Connor? Edward Furlong. They make Edward Furlong.
Oh, we did it!
Yo, box skip, let's go! First try box skip. Oh, this run is blessed. This run is so blessed. That is such a meme skip. Okay, so what Riles just did, I'll get back to the important stuff, Terminator 2 here. But what Riles just did, you can jump out just into the void, land on the outside lip of the box that you're supposed to be inside of, and use the outside lip to like fling you forward and land inside of the box in front of you. It saves, I don't know, 4 or 5 seconds probably. Like it's a significant time save, but there's no good setup for it. You just kind of have to try and see what happens. So it is not typically advisable, like in PB attempts. It's not a safe strat.
I never do it. Like, if I'm just doing runs, I don't do it. When I play this game for marathons, I always just go for it for the memes.
Right,
and
right.
Today it happened.
It's really hard. It's really hard because there's no good setup for it, and there's no way to practice it. Because so what happens if you don't get box skip, you fall down onto the tracks where those boxes were on, and you get electrocuted, and you die. And so then that section reloads, but when it reloads, it's on a different cycle. Again, this whole chapter is cycles. So you're on a different cycle, and the timing is different. So you can't practice the approach. So you either do it or you don't, and there's no good way to practice it, and there's no good setup for it, and it's so difficult. So yeah, GG Ryan. I love box skip. I love box skip. Anyway, so Edward Furlong, right, has to lower Arnold into the molten metal because Arnold's like, I cannot self-terminate. That was the worst Arnold impression ever. I'm so sorry. I really feel like I should apologize for that. Oh my gosh,
that was worse than Dad. That was
yeah,
worse
that was
than
so
Dad.
bad. Oh no, am I becoming Dad?
I think so.
I think I might be becoming Dad.
You are a dad.
Oh no, I am a dad. Our dad is like notoriously bad at doing impressions, like really bad, and we always give him a hard time for it, and I feel like maybe I'm losing my ability to do them as well. Is this what happens when you get old? Oh, that's so sad. Anyway, so this is a section where we're just running away from cigarettes. All you have to do is just not stop moving. It looks a little bit tense because they're gaining on you several times, but even casually, as long as you don't stop moving, they will never catch you. So we're good here.
Yes. Which, yeah, the factory is like exploding right now because we pulled some switches, and apparently, like all good factories, there is a self-destruct switch.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I totally skipped over that. Sorry. We did. We pulled.
It's okay.
A lever.
You're talking about Terminator.
Exactly. We pulled a lever, and now the whole factory is coming down around us. But again, I don't know if this is deliberate or not. I don't know. One of the side effects of pulling the self-destruct lever was the guard that was in the office where the boy was locked up left to go investigate and didn't lock the door behind him. So the boy escaped. Found the girl, and now they're leaving the factory. So now they're free to get up to more trouble, and we can move forward as well. So now we're going to get out of here before the place comes down around us.
Yes. There is going to be some very loud noises pretty soon. So if you are wearing headphones, I'll give a heads up.
Yeah, this is probably the loudest single thing in the game. Here's a question. So. Well, I'll bring it up when we get there because it won't make sense if I bring it up now.
Okay, I'm gonna point it out to you. You literally see the forklift. It's right here. This forklift, Ryan.
Oh. Okay. All right, that's fair.
Loud noises incoming.
That's fair. How have I played this game? How have I played this game like literally 1,000 times and never noticed? Because, all right, this is the question I was going to ask. Because now we're on a forklift, right? We're riding this forklift out of the factory. There was a forklift at the very beginning of the chapter, but you drive it straight into a concrete wall. So I was like, we can't be riding the same forklift because that thing is way back at the beginning of the factory, bumped up against a concrete wall. Where did this forklift come from? Apparently it came from literally the room that we were just in. You land on the forklift. How do I not notice these things? Oh dear. Anyway. I have selective vision, I guess.
Apparently.
Is that a thing?
I believe it.
All right, so that was chapter 5. And like I mentioned, the elevator doesn't go any higher, so we're just going to climb after we skip this cutscene. We're just going to climb up to chapter 6. And if you didn't think there was enough fire in chapter 5, boy, have I got good news for you. Because Chapter 6 takes place in a forest, and Smokey the Bear is not on duty.
What a weird sentence.
I know, right? I'm not entirely sure that was... I don't know, whatever. I stand behind it.
Yeah, this chapter starts very calm, actually.
Yeah, it's kind of pleasant. It's like the beginning of Chapter 4, because Chapter 4 also in a forest, and everything's nice and green. Well, there's a lot of brown, but it's, you know, at least half green.
Yeah.
It's calm and serene. It's lovely. It does not stay that way.
But like the loading screen said, we all fall apart. A kind of a weird thing to note, the beginning of every chapter, except for chapter 1, because they have to teach you how to do it, and chapter 2, every other chapter, the Yarnies will automatically merge for you. But 1 and 2, you have to manually do it.
Which is really nice for the solo route, because then you don't have to worry about making sure you're merged. I love that skip. This is a really, really lengthy puzzle. Well, maybe not. Okay,
there we go.
This is a really, really lengthy puzzle casually, but the solo skip for it's really nice. The co-op skip is even nicer.
I hear all about that
co-op
skip.
game.
I always hear about it. I'm excited because it's coming up next.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Okay, so you'll notice fence hooked up to a car battery. That's going to be important here in a second. Logs, fence, and fire.
Yes, which lock that cutscene in your brain because you will not see it in the co-op run.
Yep. Yeah, we skipped that one.
In the co-op run, the forest is just suddenly on fire. Whoops, I didn't for now.
It is kind of interesting that it's just like the forest goes from being fine to ablaze, and we don't really know why because we don't get to see that cutscene. I mean, I know why because I played the game before, but
Chat will know why now.
Yeah.
Now this is interesting because in the speed run, again, we don't spend any time standing still.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Yeah, I was gonna say just take the death.
Yeah.
In the speedrun, there is no time spent idle, so you never really feel threatened by the flames encroaching on you. I went back and because we recorded our casual playthrough of this game, I went back and I watched it. You can't just stand still for a lot of this chapter.
It is very stressful.
Yeah, it really is. There's a lot like the flames will catch you. I mentioned earlier the cigarettes that were chasing you in chapter 5. As long as you keep moving forward, they'll never catch you. That's not true here. These aren't cigarettes. It's just a forest fire. But same thing applies. It'll catch you. I mean, we move forward quickly enough that it's never really a problem. But yeah, it doesn't give you just tons of time to solve puzzles or anything. You catch on fire, and that's the end of that.
Yeah. Rip, who just popped into the chat, is, just to give him a shout out, the world record holder of this category, with an insane time. It's like a 1:13 or something, and my PB today was a 1:16, and I don't know. He's very, very good at this game.
More insane than that, Rip is, to the best of my knowledge, the only person to submit a run to the 1P2C leaderboard that we have for this, which is basically you do the co-op run, but you do it with one person. You just have to control, you have to use both controllers. And I haven't watched his run of it. I haven't watched the video, but the time is unbelievably fast. It's, I think, only 2 minutes slower than his solo run, which doesn't make any sense because it's twice as many controllers. So yes, Rip, very, very good at this game, and also responsible for a lot of the routing.
Yeah. But yeah, so we were in a cave for a little bit. Now we're out of the cave and everything is on fire. And what our little sparkly guide teaches us is that you can hit the ground twice if you're jumping. And that is it. If you hit it 3 times, you're in trouble. Oh, that wasn't quite how I wanted that to go, but it works.
Yeah, it worked out. Yeah, so you cannot walk on the floor that's made of coals. You have to do what we call bunny hopping, which we do most of the run anyway because it's faster movement. So it's not a change for us really, but it becomes mandatory.
Yes,
and like Ryle said, you can bunny hop twice. If you land on the ground a 3rd time, you burn to a crisp. So
that
only 2 bunny hops. That's the rule. Riles is going to bend that rule in half right now.
Oh, I screwed
Oh,
it
no.
up. Okay.
Oh, no.
I got it.
Okay, so we call this fire walking, and I'll try and explain it while he's doing it. So the way the rule
Can we be
works.
quiet for a minute, actually?
Oh yeah.
So I
Sorry.
can think. Yeah, you're good.
I'm
You're
hushing
good.
up. I'm hushing up.
I'm gonna give it a couple more tries because it's a good thing. Oh, okay, we did it.
Oh, nice. Okay. Oh my gosh, that's so stressful to watch. I don't know how you do that. We do it as well in the co-op run, but again, we have twice as many sets of hands.
And brains.
And brains. I don't know how Riles does that. I don't know how he does it by himself. Anyway, so firewalking, the way it works, again, you're only allowed to land on the ground twice. If you land on it 3 times, you burn up. But you only control 1 Yarny at a time, and the other Yarny is sort of considered secondary, so they do not receive the burn damage, I guess, for lack of a better term. So what Riles was doing was bouncing twice, and then in midair after the 2nd bounce, unmerging and re-merging so that the other Yarny was then in control and didn't have any burn damage. And then they would bounce twice, and then he would unmerge and re-merge in the air, and so on and so forth. And you have to do it, like 9 times? Like 9 bounces or something like that?
I have no idea.
Really hard. It's really hard. The timing is ridiculously tight. It is so tight that the movement mechanics are a little bit different on different consoles. And my wife and I run this game on both the PlayStation and on PC. The timing is so tight that if we are in practice on one of those platforms, we can't do the firewalking on the other platform. It takes us probably a week to get back to where we can do it consistently, because it's this much different, and this much different is enough to make it so you're not going to get it right.
Yeah.
So very, very difficult. Very impressive that Riles can do it at all. So GG by you. How many tries did it take you this afternoon when you PB'd? Because you said you lost a lot of time to it.
I probably had 6 or 7 tries this afternoon when I PB'd. Yeah, if I got it, I was practicing earlier today, and I got it, I think, 2nd try. So someday, if I can put everything together, because if you get it right, it's what, 15 seconds? And yeah, I spent about a minute trying to get it earlier today. But the alternative is there's a log that starts rolling, and you have to just stay on that log as it kind of goes across all those coals.
Yeah.
And that takes, what, 30, 40 seconds? I don't even know.
Something like that. Something like that. Yeah, I think you save time. At one point we had done the math. I don't remember exactly. But I think you save time if you get it on your 3rd try. I think after your 3rd try, you are officially losing time compared to just rolling the log. Anyway, so we're coming up on this barn that is burning up. You may have noticed in the background our teenage friends are trying to get into the barn. For noble reasons. There are animals trapped inside, moose friends.
Yeah, you can hear the moose neighing in the background.
Yeah, they're neighing in the background. Okay, quick aside. We do know the difference between a moose and a horse. It's an inside joke. I don't remember when it started. I don't know why we keep doing it, but I love it so much. Anyway, so anyway, the teenagers were trying to get inside the barn so that they could save the moose/horses, but they can't get in. So we're gonna bust into the barn because we can get in and get them out for them.
Yes, because we are of an indeterminate size and can fit wherever we need to.
Yep. So there you go. There's the moose in the background. We're gonna put out this fire here with a suit. Yeah, exactly. Save the animals. We're saving the animals and the frames, so Metroid can suck it. I'd like to see them do that. So, the moose are free, and we're getting the heck out of here because this whole place is burning down.
Yep. Which, if you wait long enough right there, it's really fun. The Yarnies will like run up to each other and high five and hug. Yeah. But I don't want to wait for that animation to finish, so I said, walk, please.
Yeah, this is a really, really enjoyable game to play casually and to take your time doing. It's because there are so many small details like that and things going on in the background that you can kind of look at. And it's such a good game. I can't say enough good things about this game. I won't go so far as to say it's perfect, but it is.
Gold chapter 6.
All right, yeah, 1 chapter left. 6 down, 1 to go. Chapter 7 is interesting in the sense that for the last, hour and change, we have been walking left to right. The devs saw that and thought to themselves, nah. So in Chapter 7, all of a sudden, we're going to be moving right to left. Because why not throw a curveball in the last chapter of the game? Now, to the devs' credit, you only move right to left for the first half of the chapter. The second half of the chapter is a whole different kind of chaos.
Yes. This is also some of the hardest platforming in the game because they build up your momentum a ton. And then you just have to jump and swing and continue going. And that's kind of a staple through both the platforming portions of this chapter. So we have a platforming, then we have a puzzle section, and then the end is platforming but different.
Right. So yeah, hopefully Riles will make this look easy. He often does. But this is really deceptively difficult, this part here, because all of these anchor points that we're going to need to swing onto and all of the jumps are really, really, they're about as far away as you can get. And you need to retain all of your momentum to get it. And if you fall into this muck, water, sludge, whatever, down at the bottom, you're dead. Because I think maybe without exception in that area, if you fall in, you can't get out. And there are cigarettes in there, so they will get you. Like it's a guarantee. But yeah, Riles handled it no problem. Again, making it look easy.
There's one spot where you can escape. I might have a cat visiting me on my lap in just a moment. If he does, I will hold him up for all of you.
Cat percent.
This screen should not exist.
Yeah, I don't know why it does. There's no puzzles. There's nothing going on. You just take 5 steps to the left.
This is Eclipse.
Through it.
He's a good boy. He was a rescue.
Hi, Eclipse. You're adorable. So this is the clockwork puzzle. This is where I really, my heart goes out to solo runners of this game, because the co-op run does not do this puzzle, and this puzzle is forever taking. It's so slow. It's also really complicated. Like casually, it takes a really long time to figure this one out. It's really hard. There's some really, really clever puzzle design in this game. The devs did a really good job with just coming up with really confusing, challenging puzzles that like you feel really smart for figuring them out.
Why did it just split? That was weird. Rip, yeah, there is usually a frog in the first portion of this chapter. And sometimes that frog decides that it wants to float in the air. I don't think we saw that today. If we did, I didn't notice it.
All right, making good time so far in this chapter.
Wait.
Oh, yep, yeah, you gotta push that.
All right, I'm gonna
Okay,
try to
just push.
do this the fast way. We'll see.
Yeah, do it.
Hey!
No problem. So the way you're supposed to do that, one Yarny is supposed to stay behind and hold that what do you call that, lever, I guess? Hold that lever up against the pulleys so that it doesn't get pushed out. But that's slower. But to do it optimally, like Riles just did, you have one shot at it. And if you don't get it, you have to reset the whole thing.
We skip about half of that puzzle right there with just a nice big swing.
Love big swings. So again, entirely glitchless. We're not doing anything that you can't do casually. It's just also not the way that the developers intended you to solve these puzzles. But it's fast. Gotta go fast.
All right, Eclipse, I do need you to get down. Thank you, friend.
Goodbye, cat. Nice. All right, and we are coming up on the last 5-ish minutes of the run. This is the rapids section. The rest of the game is there are no puzzles. There's nothing to solve. It's just go as fast as you can and try not to die.
Yep.
And because what would life be without more wrinkles? There is a brand new mechanic introduced for the last section in the rapids. We now have the ability to double jump. So you can jump, and then you can jump again. You get your double jump back anytime you land on a surface. It doesn't have to be the ground. If you cling to a wall, you get your double jump back. So we're going to make as much use of that as we can because it's really fast movement. You'll also see coming up here in just a second, there's these like glowing ribbons in the air, and we can use those as anchor points like we have to actual anchor points kind of throughout the rest of the game. We can use our yarn to grab onto them and swing. And if you combine the ribbons with double jumps, you can get up some really serious momentum.
Which I will be trying to do. It's very dangerous.
Oh, yes.
Because you give up your ability to rescue yourself from a bad swing.
Oh man.
Please just thank you. But I am probably gonna stop talking until basically the end.
Yes, yeah. This is really, really difficult movement for the last few minutes. So yeah, I'll let him pay attention to the game. But yeah, what he was saying, you can basically, if you use your double jump right as you release your swing, assuming that your swing is taking you in the right direction, you get a lot of speed, like a lot of speed. The danger is that sometimes your swing is not released sort of in the optimal direction, and that combined with using the double jump will sometimes just rocket you straight up into the air, or even worse, straight down into a cigarette that's just hanging out in the water and you die. So that sucks. But if done well, you can get through this rapid section really fast. But there tends to be a lot of variance in the rapids because if you don't get good momentum built up through double jumps and ribbon swings and things like that, it can go pretty slowly because you can't move through the water very quickly. There aren't really any opportunities to swing other than on the ribbons. Oh no!
What?
I landed in some fire.
That's okay. We were at a checkpoint.
Yeah. So if you end up just kind of, spending a lot of time in the water, it costs you a lot of time. So we want to spend as much time as we can just flying through the air because that is the fastest way to travel.
Yeah. Which is interesting. When I started running this game and when Ryan started running this game about a year ago, the strategy was completely different. You could kind of boost yourself along the ribbons by spamming the button to attach yourself to them. But yeah, now it's to double jump right when you release.
Yeah, and I think theoretically the kind of threading along the ribbon like you just described is probably still faster. It's just so hard to do well. Nobody ever does it well enough, consistently enough for the whole rapid section that it ends up saving time. I'm a big believer in safe strats are fast strats.
Yeah. Well, and I think this. Oh no! See that? So that was a bad release. I think this strategy of
man.
Okay, yeah, I should just shut up.
Yeah, man, you're good. We are coming up. We're getting close to the end. I think we got one more. Yeah, once we're over this tree here. Oh darn! This is kind of hard to do. You got to really get a really good swing and then land on this tree. There you go. And you just use your double jump to climb the tree. There we go. Now we're home free. There's nothing left that can kill us.
The end is coming up very, very soon.
Yep. So Riles is going to go over this waterfall, and as he passes through a gate here at the end, it'll be time. So I'll let him call it.
Time.
GG.
Nice.
And that's Unravel 2.
That's Unravel 2.
And we're going to play it again here in a few minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's an ending cutscene here where we see our Yarnies run through the portal back to the lighthouse one last time. And if we did the bonus levels, which you'll see at the end of the game, this ending cutscene would make much more sense.
Yes.
But we are suddenly going to see a lot more Yarnies, and we're gonna fix the lighthouse.
Yeah, because remember that was our mission, was to fix the lighthouse. So we're gonna do that now.
Yeah. Thank you for all the GGs in chat. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, good run, man.
That was a good run. Yeah.
My live split says 1:17:23. I don't know what
Yeah,
what
we have
time
one
for the.
How about the same 1:17:24 here?
Hey,
cool.
until like 4 hours ago, that probably would have been a PB.
Yeah, it would have been pretty close to one. But we're gonna take this firefly that's been guiding us and shove it into the lighthouse with all our different colored Yarnies.
Yeah, someone said earlier, all you have to do is replace the bulb. That's what we're doing, right?
With magic.
It's a magic bulb.
So I may. All right. Oh, I had to mute my mic for a second. I'll probably ask this after the next run as well. For those that are coming in and like, oh, I love this game, or this game looks really, really fun to speed run, where would they go?
You can get it for most game playing devices. I run it on Switch. I just bought it on the Nintendo Online. You can get it on Xbox. You can get it on PlayStation. I think just on the PlayStation Network shop, whatever it's called. It's available on Origin or Steam. If you buy it on Steam, it will just launch Origin. Yeah. So if you're a PC person, make sure you have an Origin account. But yeah, it's available on basically all the modern consoles. It runs really well on all of them. So it's just whichever one you have. And what I will say, so my wife, who is not would not call herself a gamer, I think, to any extent. We played through this together casually. We did the co-op version, and she really enjoyed it. It was not outside of her skill set, and so I think it's a really great game to sit down and play with someone who maybe isn't as into video games as you. If you have someone in your life like that.
And you'll get to see some of that too during the co-op run, because my wife would probably describe herself the same way to an extent. She's not a big gamer, but between the two of us, we make a pretty good team, and we're pretty good at the games.
But yeah, and shout out to the people going up the screen right now, Frida Johansson and Henrik. I don't know how to say that name, so I won't even try, because the music in this game is incredible.
It slaps.
So yeah, but
yeah.
That's pretty much it for me. Oh, someone in chat says 75% off on PS4 right now.
Yo, go buy this game.
Go buy this game. Absolutely.
You have to buy it. You have to. You have no excuse not to buy it. You're saving money.
Yeah.
There you go.
Goodbye Kansas Studios. What? I've never seen that.
Oh, and for our runner, if anyone was interested in following the runner, where would they end up needing to go?
My Twitch is twitch.tv/Riles_G. I mostly speedrun this and Final Fantasy.
I'm laughing at chat. I'm sorry.
You're good.
Thank you, Groucho Barks. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Groucho. Riles_G. I mostly speedrun this and Final Fantasy 1. I'm a teacher and I just started summer break today, so I'll probably either learn a new run or do some casual games if you want to come hang out. I would love to see you over there. But yeah, I think that's it for me. So I think we're gonna make a transition over to Ryan's.
We'll be
view.
We'll be taking a short break. In the meantime, before we end up switching on over to the co-op run of Unravel 2, don't forget that these hotfix shows are brought to you by viewers like you. If you have an Amazon Prime account, you can subscribe to any Twitch channel of your choice every month for free. Please consider using your Prime Gaming account to subscribe to the GDQ Twitch channel. Also, your subs, gift subs, Amazon Prime subs, and bits cheered on the GDQ Twitch channel really help support our weekly hotfix content. Thank you so much for supporting our shows so much. And of course, information on all of our hotfix shows are available at gamesdonequick.com/hotfix. From there, you can find out more information about submitting your runs to any one of our weekly shows. We're going to take a small break as a great time to hydrate and stretch, walk around while we get set for the co-op version of Unravel 2. And I've heard nothing but great things about this, so I am excited to see this run. Stay tuned. All right, welcome back to the Bargain Bin, a show about speedrunning games all under $20. Once again, I am Midnight Vesper, and I will be your host for this show. Just a couple quick announcements real fast. Summer Games Done Quick 2021 online prize submissions are in fact now open. You can go to gamesdonequick.com to find out more about submitting your prizes for the event. Frame Fatales, the all-women speedrunning event, will be returning on August 15th to the 21st with Flame Fatales. You can go to gamesdonequick.com/framefatales to find more information on the upcoming event. And of course, if you're watching this on YouTube and would like to support our live content, please consider checking out our Twitch channel at twitch.tv/GDQ. And without further ado, we're going to go ahead and take it to our runners. This Guys Are Sick and Miss Ray.
Hi, thank you.
Hello.
I'm This Guy Are Sick. You can call me Ryan, because that's my name. And this is my wife Ray. Hi, Kaz. I do know you.
Hi, so many friends
you do
in
know
chat.
us.
Hi, friends.
Hi, Carrie. And thank you, Riles, for your run earlier. Thank you for letting me do comms. Thank you, GDQ, for having us and showing off the game. This is Unravel 2, which if you were here 10 minutes ago, you already saw once, but we're going to beat it again, and it's going to be very different because this is the co-op run, and it is wicked awesome. So I'm going to give you a quick countdown of 3, 2, 1, and then we will start. So 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay.
So the big difference here that I was trying to sort of tease but not give away during Riles' run is Zoops.
That thing that I just did.
Zoops are love, Zoops are life.
Mm-hmm.
It's a mechanic that does not exist in the solo version of the game because it requires it requires a couple of things, but one of the things you have to do is turn off a thing called auto grab in the gameplay settings. And basically what we can do is merge the two Yarnies, which you saw a lot of in Riles' run. Again, if you were here for that. You can merge the two Yarnies, put them together, but Zoops allow you to do it from any distance, which is dope. And it is going to allow us to skip lots of stuff.
Well, so the world record of the solo run is 1:11, 1:13, I think, depending on which you're looking at.
Yeah, that's right.
And our co-op record is
is an hour flat.
40 something.
It's an hour and 37 seconds.
So yeah.
So this is somewhere
much,
between
much different game.
It's somewhere between 10 and 15 minutes faster than the solo route. And not just because there's two different people controlling the Yarnies at the same time, although that does contribute a little bit.
But not as much as you would think.
Yeah. So if you didn't catch Riles' run, the idea here is that we're controlling these anthropomorphic yarn creatures, right? In the solo route, you can only control one of them at a time, and you have to manually switch your control back and forth. But you can spend a lot of time merged together as one single Yarny, which makes for great gaming if, and Riles mentioned this, if you want to play it with somebody who's not really a big-time gamer, doesn't really love playing games, doesn't like doing a lot of platforming stuff, one person can handle the vast majority of it. No! Oh no, I'm embarrassed. I've brought shame to my family.
Wow.
Anyway,
Kick him off.
let's pretend that never happened.
You brought shame to yourself.
One person can
not
do
to
the vast
me.
majority of the platforming. But then when it gets to the puzzles and stuff, what Ray really excels at is this.
Ta-da!
The speed tech, Zoops and the variations on Zoops, almost exclusively a thing that we call Zoop shifts. All right. Ray is great at executing it. Amazing. I stink at it. I am really, really bad at executing
That's true.
the speed tech.
He's not very good at it.
But I'm really good at the platforming stuff, as not evidenced by my inability to grab an anchor point just a second ago. Yeah, so between the two of us, we're 100% good at it because we each do kind of 50% of the stuff. And we make a pretty good team.
But yeah, I'm terrible at platforming, which is where zooping comes in really handy, because if I get way behind, most of the time I can just go, okay.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna catch back up to you and just zoop back up, which is really nice.
And zooping is cool. Like I say, it works from any distance. Although, I'll go. You don't have an infinite amount of yarn, so oops, I don't know why I jumped that way.
That's fine.
So I don't know why I say any distance. It's any practical distance.
Yeah.
There's a lot of yarn, so you never really need to be so far away that you're not going to be able to zoop. But it also requires line of sight.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can't, well, yeah, not you. If the Yarny can't see the other Yarny, then the zoop won't work. You can press the buttons to execute a zoop and nothing will happen. So you have to have line of sight. And line of sight is even more important because if you do somehow successfully zoop, but there's an obstacle in your way, it's really easy for your yarn to get tangled. So
Because the yarn that connects you also has collision.
right. So I could zoop to Ray right now because she's so far ahead of me. It would, make up a lot of ground if I zooped to her, but our yarn would almost certainly get tangled in the rocks up above. So I didn't because tangles stink.
Because if the yarn that connects you gets caught on collision in the environment, then you're stuck and you just have to reset from a checkpoint. Most of the time.
Now, I did see this in chat, and I had a question about it as well. When you two, when they merge together, do you both have to control, or is it just player one or player two? Is it based off of who has the dominant color?
It's whoever was. You gonna play
Yeah,
bingo?
yeah. Oh no. I was busy showing off.
Yeah, whoever was merged to or zooped to is the person in charge. So 95% of the time that's me. I do most of the darn it.
Oh, L.
Thank
Sorry.
you. Yes. I do most of the
Now we gotta reset the checkpoint. This is one of the hardest skips, honestly, in the whole game.
yeah, and it comes really early. Got it. Okay, third try's not bad.
Yeah, we haven't missed that in a while. That's fine. No, that's part of why this co-op especially is so good for people like me who are not gamers.
Yep.
And who don't want to practice a game 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
I'm not that kind of gamer.
Yeah.
So I can just not do most of the platforming and I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. So yeah, as Rip pointed out in the chat, zooping, and I mentioned this during Riles' run, kind of in passing. Zoops were discovered on accident by by the godfather of Unravel speedrunning, Pokewix, and his partner Sir Emil. They were playing. Pokey was playing the game casually with some friends, and his friends just kept messing with him by releasing their grab.
Or not releasing their grab.
Or not releasing, yeah, when they were supposed to.
And like pulling each other around.
So Pokey went into the gameplay settings, turned off auto grab, and
then oops.
And then Zoops were born.
Yeah.
And it's, oh man, it's so good. I love it so much. It has revolutionized the speed
Well,
game.
we run the game because of our friends Mutsky and Metatron. They run it, and they were like, you guys should play this game. And apparently their world record was like a 125 or something for a while. And then they came back to the leaderboard and they were like, I'm sorry, at 118, how is that possible? And then they watched it and they were like, I'm sorry, what are they even doing? Because they didn't know about Zoops until Poke came up with them.
Gamer tags come from. Mine is a Final Fantasy VII reference. In the American translation of Final Fantasy VII, there's a bit where Aerith is investigating. It's in the Sector 5 slums. You don't need any of this context.
No.
Aerith,
Classic Ryan story.
Aerith points out to Cloud that there's somebody who's sick, and she says, "This guy are sick." So that's my
translation.
username. But you didn't say username. You said gamer tag.
The same thing.
Well, it could be PlayStation gamer tag. That is none of your business, because I'd be doxing myself.
I'm guest one.
Yeah, you're guest one. Anyway, so that's my my Twitch handle. But yeah, I prefer to just go by Ryan, because then I will always respond. Because if somebody calls your name, you're like, what? If somebody just says, "Hey, this guy," hey, that's just this much better than "Hey, you."
Hey, you. Get a load of this guy.
I'm gonna start calling you only this guy.
Yeah.
Family
So
events.
once again, if you were here for the first run, we've got our teenage friend escaping from some sort of home that is not treating her well. But Zoops to the rescue. We do not need to move this box at all. Riles had to push that box across the floor 2 or 3 times. We're not messing with that. That takes too long.
Bye.
I love Zoops. I love Zoops so much.
I feel like you're gonna say that 100 times.
Oh,
today.
they make me happy.
Like this. Whoop. We can, but not very well. Ryan turned down Discord, and it's a little hard to hear.
Oh yeah, Riles, if you're talking, I can't hear you at all, man. Sorry.
He said something. He was gonna call you this guy.
Oh, okay.
I was suspicious you couldn't hear me, so I'll just talk until you talk over me, and it's great.
Yeah, sorry, man. I had headphones on for when I was doing commentary for Riles' run, but because only one person can wear headphones, we've got it coming through our speakers, but I don't want it to be picked up by our microphone, so I've got it turned down pretty low. Give me 1 second, I'll turn my volume up a little bit. So once again, we're going to be introduced to the enemies of the game.
There we go.
There we go, that should be a little better.
He's been roasting you. Well, that sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty par for the course to it. Twiz. Alright, gonna hope I get a good jump on this box. I did not.
Boo.
Could've
So we
been-
might get caught.
It could have been worse, so I might have to wait on a cycle here. Going for it.
Nice.
Got it.
Nice.
GG.
Very good. Ryan makes that section look incredibly easy, and I honestly don't know how he does it.
Me either.
I got mad skills.
Why do you think I don't run it? Here's a puzzle we just have completely broken.
Oh yeah.
You mean all of them?
Also that, yes.
I think one of the things that makes me really jealous about Zoops when I think about the single player run, so we talked a little bit in the last run and you've seen them do it a couple times. There's fall damage where the Yarnies are on the ground and you have to wait for them to get up. But if you split, one of the Yarnies can start moving early, which in the single player doesn't do a whole lot for you because then you still have to go back and move the second Yarnie. But in co-op, they can just zoop on ahead, so they can cancel that fall damage literally every time it happens without having to worry about it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, I don't think there's a single place where we actually wait out fall damage in this game.
I think you have to wait it out later in this chapter, but it's not a big deal. In the double cannons where I don't cannon anymore.
Yes, that's true. Fair enough.
But for the most part, no.
All right, here's the skateboard, which we talked about during the solo run, is one of the reasons that there was a split between NE% and NMS, because of the fabled skateboard skip. This is the NMS category, so we don't do it.
The other thing that's different in co-op NE% and NMS is something called a fling, which is, so we're connected by our yarn, and whatever, so the way that the zoop shifts work is, if Ryan zoops to me, then whatever move I do is mirrored in him, because my motion affects him once he is zooped, right? So right there, he zooped to me, and I jumped right to move him right.
Yep, because when I zoop, the only movement I have is towards Ray, towards the Ray's Yarny.
But whatever I do, he also does. So if I go up and right, then he goes up and right, and suddenly he can reach somewhere he couldn't before.
Right.
So the other thing that does is sometimes if you are, it happens most often when you're flipping, but Rip can tell you more. If you ever want to speedrun this, just show up in Discord and Rip will tell you all you need to know.
Yeah, Rip
you can also do it with a thing called a partner swing, but if you cancel at the right time, then the Yarny in the back will go forward ahead of you, and if you cancel it while they're ahead of you, then all of that momentum keeps going, and you can just like skip giant chunks of the game.
Yeah, it is easily the fastest movement in the game. You can cover huge chunks of ground.
Rip and
yeah,
Siebes,
Rip.
oh, sorry.
Rip and his wife Siebes are the masters of the unrestricted 80%.
They've done chapter
category.
1 in less than 2 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, chapter
Wow.
1 takes us about 6 minutes. It takes the solo runners, I think, about 7 minutes.
Yeah, my gold chapter 1 is 7:05, so.
I don't know.
Oh my goodness.
Ah,
Come on.
there we
Got
go.
it.
It's fine.
I snort sneak dust. NMS console. So we split the leaderboards between console and PC. So NMS is just no major skips, and then console is that it is on a console version of the game. So Xbox, Switch, or PlayStation.
Yep. Hey, Emma. Oh, okay. Yeah. And it's interesting because so when you're playing a game, right? If you're playing a game that is available on both a console, like a video game console, and PC, most of the time the assumption is that the PC is going to be fastest, right? Because PCs have the fastest hard drives and all that stuff. And that's true. Load times are shortest on the PC. However, there is something, and I'm not sure exactly what it is, but I think, whoa, barely made it. I think it has to do with the jumping animation that the Yarnies do, something like that. Something about the console version of the game, the movement is a little bit faster than it is on PC, and over the course of an hour, that adds up. So console runs, and we're running this on the PlayStation right now. We do also run it on the PC, but this is a PlayStation. Console runs are potentially faster than PC runs. So the fastest potential time in this game would be on a PlayStation 5. Because
Probably.
that is the console that has the fastest load times. And then you also just have, the advantage of playing on a console, and therefore the movement is faster. We're playing on a PlayStation 4 Pro that has a solid state drive installed in it.
So it's pretty speedy.
Yeah, which gives us a distinct advantage over people who play on just an ordinary PlayStation 4, or like Riles plays on the Switch, because our load times are significantly shorter, and we have the fast movement. Oh man!
Oh no!
Oh.
Someone asked about 100%. There is not right now 100% on the leaderboard.
We are working on it, though.
But yeah, we're working on it. So there's an all challenges %, which is the 20 bonus levels.
Mm-hmm.
And then the 100% would also include all of the collectibles that are in the levels. But it's not officially on the leaderboard yet because no one's done it.
Right.
I'm pretty sure that if anyone does it, they'll add it. It's not a big deal. We just haven't done it yet.
Right. Yeah, we've been working, just like the last couple of weeks, actually. Ray and I have started kind of routing out a 100% category. The challenge levels, we know how to do all 20 of those. That's not hard. We'll get to do them for you later after we finish our run. I say that's not hard. It's really hard. The challenge levels are really difficult. But the real difficult thing will be locating and determining how most quickly, how fastest, to get to all of the collectibles within the main 7 chapters.
And there are a couple that are really tricky.
Yeah, there are a couple that are really hard to get. All right, that's chapter 2. 2 down, 5 to go.
2 down, 5 to go.
And as before with Riles, we're going to be skipping the cutscenes that follow each chapter.
Yeah, Rip points out there's a lot to do in this game. I mean, we hadn't done all of the challenge levels until, well, like maybe once a year ago, and then we didn't touch them again until a month ago. I was like, I want to play some new Unravel, but there is no new Unravel, so we went through them again.
I will say, for purposes of a 100% category, I will lobby really hard for it not to include all achievements.
Or all medals.
Yeah, that's what it is, all medals. Because there are 43 medals that you can get, but those medals include finishing a chapter. You get 1 per chapter without dying. And I've run this game a lot. I've put a lot of runs into this. I have never once finished a run with no deaths.
We've gotten close.
I've gotten close. I think I might have one with 1 death. I know I have one that's only 2 deaths. But yeah, you have to beat the entire game without dying.
That'd be rough.
To get all of the medals. So I think I would argue for that to not be kept in, because that'd kill a lot of runs.
And literally. I think it would be so difficult to get all the collectibles in a level and get so the game does give you medals for completing a level under a certain amount of time, right? And some of them are actually rather hard to get.
Chapter 2 especially. Chapter 2 casually.
We'll have people show up in the Discord and just be like, look, I don't want to speedrun this, but I need to know how to get the gold medal.
Yep.
Yeah. But so to get all of the collectibles, finish it fast enough, and not die is, on some of the levels, I would probably argue almost impossible.
So yeah, I'm of the opinion that a hundo would be all 7 chapters, obviously, all the collectibles, and
then all 20 challenge levels.
Yeah, all the challenge levels.
Which would take a couple hours, probably.
I don't think so.
I mean, the challenge levels by themselves... Hey, Hedgehog! The challenge levels by themselves take half an hour.
Right. So, I think it takes an hour and a half. Hour and 45.
I mean, you gotta... Yeah, I mean, you gotta add time for all the collectibles, because there's a bunch of collectibles we don't get.
Yeah.
So, yeah. We are a couple. Ray is my wife.
We've been married 10 years.
So sorry, she's not single. Yeah, snouts out.
Yeah, there's lots of little animals. I assume you talked about that already.
Yes, yeah. There are a lot of really adorable, cute little animals kind of strewn throughout the background of this game. There's just a lot of cool stuff in general strewn throughout the background of this game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see these front flips that I'm doing? That's how you get a really good fling, like I was
Yes.
talking about earlier.
So I know you said earlier about how you got inspired to do the co-op speedrun. I'm just curious, like, how did you decide to do co-op casually? Was it just in a discussion, or was it because like the game looked adorable, or anything else along those lines?
Emetatron, who is here in chat, she speedruns this game with her boyfriend Mutsky, who is a really good speedrunner of a bunch of Final Fantasy titles. All right, here's a bunch of context you didn't ask for, but to properly answer the question, I have to give it to you. I am aware of speedrunning in general because of GDQ, actually. I've watched GDQ for a few years now, and I've always found it fascinating. And then last
year.
last winter's GDQ, that's SGDQ, right? Or
No.
AGDQ. AGDQ is the winter one, right?
AGDQ. Yeah.
So last, thank you. Last AGDQ, there was a Final Fantasy VIII run that was done. And I love the Final Fantasy games, hence my Twitch username. And Mutsky was one of the runners in it, and I didn't know who he was. I didn't even have a Twitch account at the time. But I watched that because I always watch GDQ and I love Final Fantasy. And I was like, oh my goodness, this Mutsky dude is friggin' hilarious. I'm gonna go find other things he's done. So I watched other GDQ appearances from him, RPG Limit Break stuff. Oh, turkey time. If we could break out the global Twitch turkey emote, please. Anyway.
It's a turkey.
So I watched a bunch of his stuff on YouTube, and then eventually we joined Twitch, and got into Mutsky's community, and I watched him speedrun this with Emetatron, and I was like, I'd kind of be interested in learning how to, do some speedrunning. Where should I start? And they were both like, oh, you need to play Unravel. Unravel's great, because you've got Ray who can play games with you. So we did. And we played this one, and this was the first speed game I ever learned. And it is still, and I mentioned this earlier, by a wide margin, my favorite.
So we played it casually in order to speedrun it.
Yes.
Because our friends told us to.
Yeah, it was always with the intent to learn the speed run.
It's a sweet story.
And it was one of those things where Zoops had already been invented, so when we saw it played for the first time, we saw the speed run. And I kept waiting for the game to teach us how to zoop, and then it never did.
And then after we finished it, Matt and Emma were in chat, and they're like, okay, can we show you how now? And the first time we did the zoop, I think my face just about broke out
It's so
joy.
great.
It's so much fun.
And I really enjoy finding people on Twitch that I don't know playing this game, like doing their first casual playthrough of it. And then, we'll get to know them a little bit, and once they finish it, we tell them, hey, can we show you how to do a cool thing? And the reaction is always the best.
It's always just so much joy.
It's like Christmas every time people learn how to zoom. Oh, it's so good. I love it so much.
So yeah, if you want to play this game, I would challenge you to play it without zoops first.
Yes, please.
And then we'll find you. Because we're always watching the Unravel tag.
It's so ominous.
I know. That's why I said it. And we will show you how to do it. And it will just be so special after, 2 or 3 hours of your life without it.
That is true though. I feel like a lot of the time, sometimes someone will just pop into the Unravel Discord and be like, "Hey, everyone, go to this channel because they're playing Unravel."
Yep.
We are kind of a creepy community in that way. We do just check it out every once in a while and be like, "Who's playing Unravel today?"
Well, it's a small game,
And we all love it.
Yeah,
we play it because we love this game.
Yeah, it's a small game with a small community, and it's not like there are some games where you can go on Twitch and there's always 100,000 people playing it, right? Like, you will never want for someone to watch playing, I don't know, Apex Legends. I don't even know what Apex Legends is, by the way. I just know that it's
I know
it's a video game that's really
you're
popular.
So old.
I don't even know what kind of game it is. I just know that people like playing it.
My
Anyway,
old husband.
a little bit, yeah. I have a 3-year-old. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Anyway, but Unravel, if you follow that game tag, sometimes there's nobody playing it, and then sometimes there's like 2 people viewing Unravel. So I enjoy going in and finding people playing the game and just watching. I like watching people play the game. It's a great game.
Yeah.
Oh, that was scary.
And then sometimes there's 1,500 people watching someone play Unravel.
Like
The
now.
little Sia played it a month or so ago. And I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Someone with a real number.
Yeah. There was, oh gosh, what was it? It was like the official NVIDIA Twitch channel.
Yes.
But it was the NVIDIA like Polish. So Polish NVIDIA. And I went and I watched it. And fortunately they also spoke English because I went in and I just had so many questions for them.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm sorry, I don't speak Polish. They're like, you're fine, we speak English. And I was like, awesome.
Just of note, they did just skip about 2 screens worth of puzzles.
Yes, we did.
So
Yeah, there was some stuff Riles did in his run that we just not only did we skip it, we didn't even see
No,
those
we didn't even
screens.
see it. That's the collectibles we were talking about. See that little tiny circle under that tree? There's a bunch of those hidden throughout. I think there's like 6 in most levels.
Yeah, something like that. Oh, I love Zoops. I love Zoops.
Yep, we're also
Oh, no,
gonna
Oh no!
heck this one.
You good, fam?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh no, oh no.
I'm gonna say I was fine the time before. I think you didn't get enough help.
Ah!
Cancel me, cancel me. Ah!
Sorry.
Oh my gosh.
Oh. Not our best attempt ever. Okay. Ah, no. Ah.
I'm gonna say this is mostly not my fault.
Hey.
Yes. Which I can't remember if you talked about this earlier or not. Maybe you did. Basically, everything that they do in this game starts with a zoop. So there are zoops, there are zoop cancels, there are zoop shifts, and so that's what allows them to do all of these kind of floating through the air tricks that they're accomplishing. But it all starts from the zoop.
Yo.
So it's very good that Pokey and his friends discovered that once upon a time.
Yes. Very.
Yes, I get it. I look like Jonah Hill.
Put that on my resume.
Right?
I should put that on my resume. I'm married to someone who looks like Jonah Hill.
What are your skills? I'm frequently mistaken for Jonah Hill.
Nice.
Not bad. Kind of a beeline.
Take it. Beeline's a fast line.
So many flips. So many flips.
I'm so jealous of your zoops. I wish I could do that.
We do have to be careful in sections like that where there are a lot of flips. Like I said, those are kind of where the yarn is most likely to go a little bit wild. And when that happens, your yarn can get collision, right?
Yep.
And you get tangled.
Yep.
So there are a few places where if we know there's going to be a lot of flips, he won't jump. Because
Yeah.
you get flips when you're jumping. So whoever's in front doesn't jump in order to keep from getting tangled when the other person zooms up.
Yep, yep, yep. Oh no! Oh no!
Just a little tiny optimization thing to be aware of.
Hey, Professor. I saw you in there somewhere.
These skips should work on any version of this game.
Yes.
We haven't seen them not work, at least.
Yeah, nobody in the speedrunning community runs this on Xbox, so I
There
don't...
is, I think, one person.
Is there? Okay.
I think there is.
So I don't have a whole lot of, like, data on how Xbox compares, timing-wise and stuff like that. But yes, Zoops work on any version of the game.
You have to turn off auto grab, basically, is what you have to do to make it work.
Yeah,
But
zoops will not work right off the bat. You do have to change a setting.
We do have a tutorial if you are interested in running, and even if you're not interested in running, if you're just interested in Zoops, that's like the very first couple minutes of it. So if you just want to see how Zoops work, it's on his YouTube.
Yeah, if you find my YouTube channel, we have made 2 of them now. One of them we just updated it. I think in January or February.
I think so. It's pretty close to its route still.
It's pretty close to a current route. And it explains all of the speed tech and all of that stuff. Nice first try. Yeah,
So
we don't spend a whole lot of time in most of these screens.
So I'm not sure if you all explained it, and maybe I missed it. What the light orb that's kind of directing everything?
So
It's an excellent question, honestly.
I don't know what it is, like canonically. The idea behind it for people playing the game casually is that it sort of serves as a guide. It'll float, like when you arrive on a screen and you're taking it in for the first time, which we don't do, we keep moving forward. But you're kind of taking in the puzzle and you're looking at it. The little fairy light will fly around and usually kind of like bounce in all of, like, this is where you're supposed to go. This is this is the path you're going to take through this room. That's the practical application of it. Ultimately, it's the thing that's going to light the lighthouse for us. But as to where it came from, yes, exactly. It's Navi.
Yeah. If only it said Halo. No, please don't. No, don't say Halo. Take it back.
Drew Carey. There's one I've never heard before. Oh, dang.
I can see it a little bit.
Especially
Okay.
with these glasses, I think.
All right, fair. Man, how come nobody ever... I need to start paying better attention. How come nobody ever says, like, oh man, that guy looks like Fight Club era Brad Pitt?
I wonder.
I wonder why.
I appreciate the calmness of the level these intros. But there's the,
Oh, yeah,
the
they're
water,
really nice.
you know.
It's a very, like,
It's very
again,
soothing.
with the exception of all of the fire here in chapter 5 and 6
Yeah.
especially, it's very serene. It's very calming.
Especially 3 and 4.
Mm-hmm.
3 and 4 are just like, I would just hang out there all day.
Yep. Like, it's, especially when you're, when you're grinding for a PB or really trying to, get a specific strat down or something like that, it can be frustrating. Like any game can be frustrating when you're working on it really hard. But I never don't have a good time playing this.
Yeah.
Thank you, Taco Sauce.
Rip, I'm playing as guest 1. He's signed in as an actual person, and I just...
Yeah, Ray just doesn't have a profile
I just don't
on the
have a
PlayStation.
profile on the PlayStation. We just use the same profile normally. So we just...
So every
guess
time
one it up
every
every
time
time.
we play this game, we get all of the little PlayStation achievements.
Weird.
Yeah, that was
Okay.
strange. I couldn't get up. Don't die! Yes!
Oh, goodness.
Trenton just got here. He thinks you look like Fight Club era Brad Pitt.
Oh, this is making me feel good. It's doing wonders for my self-esteem. Yeah!
Every time.
Riles, what did I tell you? I told you, Riles. earlier I was watching Riles, and he did that really, really, really safe. And I said, hey, why didn't you almost die? I said, my favorite thing to do is to almost die there.
And make me do
because
that.
it stresses Ray out so much.
It's
Every
such a tight window.
It really is. But the timing is nice. Like, it works every time. You know,
You say having
wor-
died yesterday.
it works 80% of the time. Oh no.
Gosh, learn how to swing.
You know what? You're adopted.
Saying
That's
that.
not true, just so everyone knows.
No, it is not true. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with being adopted. I have many friends who have adoptive parents, and they have wonderful relationships and are wonderful people.
You just like giving your brother a hard time.
Yes.
And have your entire life.
Yes.
Yeah.
That has been the family joke for literally as long as I can remember.
Pretty much.
And it is not as true currently, people who were here earlier and saw my face. But I think the reason it is funny is because Ryan and I, some people have been like, man, are you guys twins? We're not. We're about 5 years apart.
We look remarkably similar.
Mm-hmm.
Again, not right now, because Riles is rocking a sweet, sweet beard, and I can't grow a beard. So it's a little bit less. What are you doing?
I didn't do that.
So since I asked this question to Ryan and everyone, I'll ask it to Riles. Did you join into speedrunning before or after your brother?
I started speedrunning myself after my brother. I think I've been watching speedruns longer.
Mm-hmm.
Riles is the person who introduced me to GDQ. I didn't know about Hush. I didn't know about GDQ until Riles told me about it. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
I think I've been watching GDQ over 10 years, because I definitely started watching it when I was in high school. And it was one of those things that I was like, man, this is so impressive and something I will never be able to do.
Right?
And then last year, I suddenly had, like, I don't know, a lot more free time for some reason.
I wonder why.
And so I decided, hey, why not try to play some games fast? And also, my brother was doing it, so I had to prove that I was better than him. So
I love that skip.
how I
love
got
that skip
started.
so much. When I was watching you do that puzzle, I was like, oh man, I'm so happy I do the co-op run. Because that puzzle is the worst.
Yeah, it's the best. Ryan is not a teacher. I teach piano.
Yes.
If that counts.
Yeah, Riles is a teacher, and our whole family is
Musical.
musically inclined as well. Riles has a music education degree. Ray and I both have music performance degrees, but I do not put my degree to use. I fix computers for a living. I do work with youth. I'm a youth minister, which always makes people feel awkward. It's my favorite thing to bring up at parties.
Yeah, we are all musicians of some.
Yeah, our
flavor.
dad was a musician. He still is, I guess. He has a music ed degree. He taught band for like 2 years at 2 different schools and was fired both times.
Yeah.
Not because he was bad at being a band director. I just don't think he gets along with people very well.
Yeah, after our dad got fired from both of his teaching jobs, he started getting into self-employed things, and that has been much better for him. I think it's just dad is not great at working for other people. And that's just how some people are, you know? But I've been teaching for 5 years, so you know
You
I
win.
got,
You got him
yeah,
beat.
Got him beat.
Again, why? Why is the floor lava? Yo, I got the super bounce.
Nice.
I don't think we explained this in the first run at all. There are switches all throughout this level, and if you tie a knot on the switches, that's how they get pulled. So then when you untie the knot, it will go back up.
Dang it.
Oh.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
Your brother wins.
Riles got box skip. I did not.
Oh.
I just want to know who builds a box this way. 3 sides, fill it, then they put on the top, then they tape it, and then they put on the 4th side. Please explain.
Well, you've got to be
As
able
you
to
would a child.
stamp. You've got to be able to stamp all the boxes inside with a picture of a bullet.
It makes no sense. Very upsetting.
Family band? Oh man, that would be an adventure.
I mean, I used to accompany him.
Yeah.
We're halfway there.
Yeah, Ray did, because I was, in a past life, I was an opera singer. And Ray's a pianist, so she did accompany me some in college.
This makes me miss all my music days in college.
Music days in college were the best.
They really were. They were also the worst, but
Well, I mean, I think that's just true of anything in college once you get too serious about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I enjoyed college. I would do college again. First try! What's up? That often takes 4 or 5 attempts. So I'm super hyped with first try. That makes up for not getting box skip. That's a lie. I'm trying to make myself feel better about missing box skip.
You didn't do this one,
I grabbed the lever. What instruments does Riles play? Riles, I think, probably had a vocal emphasis.
yes.
But he also
correct.
played
I did.
cello. I suppose so.
Yeah, so that's a 2-part question. The instruments I play well are cello and timpani in the percussion section. But the state that I teach in, I have to be able to kind of play every instrument that would be found in a school. So if you put an instrument in my hand, I can probably figure it out, but it might not be beautiful.
You learned how to play flute for like 6 weeks. This counts.
Yep.
Yeah.
So someone in chat name dropping Joseph Fares. I don't know. I mentioned earlier the game It Takes Two, and before it the game A Way Out. Joseph Fares is the person who developed those games, not the person who developed Unravel 2. Different development studio. But the Joseph Fares is like known for making really good co-op games, but none of them can touch this one. Oh, here's a fun little thing. The clothing that the kids are wearing matches your Yarny colors. So regardless of what color you choose, their clothes will change to match, which I think is really cool.
This game is just full of little tiny things you don't realize for a long time.
Yeah.
Until someone points it out and you go, oh, how did I not see that?
I do that a lot, I think. Wait, Riles, do you play the trombone?
He plays everything.
I guess.
You have to pass them all.
Yeah, trombone was my best brass instrument in college. I actually really liked playing the trombone. It's the one that I was A, best at, and B, enjoyed the most. But
Well, that was, speaking of our dad being a musician, that was our dad's major instrument. He was a trombone emphasis when he was in college.
Why had you never asked me where the forklift came from? Because I could have told you we'd drop down onto a forklift every single time.
I have brought it up with you in the room.
I think we have told you before. Like, I'm fairly sure we've told you before.
You know I don't listen when you talk.
I don't know if you're talking to me or your wife, but both are true.
You.
Yes.
I just yell at him until he listens to me. That's not true. I don't. I just sulk and then I roll my eyes. Does that seem right? Yeah.
Context of this conversation for anyone who wasn't here for my run. Ryan never knew where the forklift you ride out of this level was.
It's true. It's true.
Until I pointed it out to him in my run earlier
It's
today.
6 feet that way. You fall onto it.
Well, because there's a forklift at the very beginning of the chapter, and you use that forklift for a little bit.
So,
but then you
hold
run
on.
that forklift into a concrete wall. And so I thought it was supposed to be the same forklift, but it's clearly not.
Are you trying to tell me there can only be one forklift, but there are 2 turkeys?
Yes.
Oh, you think there are more than 2 turkeys?
No, I think just 2.
No, you have said every single time the turkey shows up, it's new. Oh, stay hydrated.
I don't think I've said that. I don't know that I've said there's more than 2 turkeys. There are multiple turkeys. That is
There is
that is all I
a
will say.
singular turkey, and there are 2 forklifts.
Nope. Yes, there are 2 forklifts.
There might be.
This much we agree upon.
Anyway. Come to GDQ for the gaming, stay for the family bickering.
Really, though.
New tagline.
We literally have a Nightbot command in my stream that is !marriage, that is that is a comment on how often we bicker. I promise that we're very happily married.
There is another command in their channel that is !relationship goals that says the same words. It's just for a different context.
Yeah, one of them has a kappa.
Yeah.
So is this the only co-op game that you all run, or do you run more co-op games?
We have run a fair amount. One other. It's another puzzle platformer called Ib and Ob, which is also really delightful and wholesome.
Very cute.
It's really, really cute. Again, it's a puzzle platformer. It has, the thing that's kind of neat about it is that in addition to just having really complex puzzles, it's got a mix of that, but also puzzles that are not all that complex in their design, but just really,
hard.
really technically difficult. So I had a lot of fun with that game. We haven't played it in a while. Unravel is definitely our main co-op game.
And then we've started several and just haven't decided what we're learning next, basically.
I really want to get Ray to do the co-op run for Turtles in Time, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4 for the Super Nintendo, because I played that game a lot when I was little, and there is a speed run for it, and I want to learn it so bad.
And then we've looked into It Takes Two, but it's still really being routed, and same with Fogs, which also just recently came out.
Next time I visit, I will 100% learn Turtles in Time and run that with you.
You and me. Make it happen. So yeah, there's Fogs. It Takes Two. I would really love to learn. Again with the Joseph Fares reference. He's getting a lot of name drops tonight. Yeah, because I loved It Takes Two. But the run is still a little bit long for us, but I'm sure it will get shorter. It's a brand new game.
Yeah. So we're kind of just waiting it out right now.
Yeah. Fogs, we still just need to finish casually. But the speed run has finally gotten short enough that we could do it if we wanted to.
Yeah.
But part of the problem is we have a kid, so we're kind of stuck in like 2.5 hour chunks where we can do stuff. So.
Yep. Yeah, it's one thing for me to find time to stream and game. It's an entirely different thing for both of us to find time together at the same time. It's a challenge sometimes. But I mentioned earlier, I enjoy speedrunning co-op with Ray so much more than I enjoy doing it solo. And I like doing it solo a lot. It's just, I mean, it's more fun. It's more fun to hang out with your spouse, right?
That's the idea.
Yeah, usually.
Yeah. I see some people in chat talking about how all of a sudden there's fire. They skipped the cutscene where fire appears. There was an electric fence that got knocked over. That is an unskippable cutscene in the solo version of the game, but yeah, in co-op they can do a nice little zoop trick to get past that cutscene.
Yeah, the idea is there's a cutscene trigger, but both Yarnies have to walk through it. So what we do is we get really far away from one another and then zoop. So as I walk through the trigger, Ray zoops over it, and we never trigger the cutscene. There's actually 2 or 3 of those throughout the game. There's one in Chapter 4 that Riles actually skips as well because he's separated when he does it. Okay, here we go.
Firewalk. Very well done.
We did it.
Wow,
That's
nice.
how it's done, Riles.
Aw, be nice.
Teach you a thing or two.
We have twice as many
That's how
hands.
it's done when you have 2 people.
Not fair. You did great, Ryle.
You did amazing. I don't know how you do it solo. It boggles my mind. I could never ever do it.
Yeah, so again, to explain that one for anyone who wasn't here, we're only allowed to touch coals twice. But during that, if after you touch the coals twice, you just switch to the other Yarny, because like we talked about earlier, the Yarny that is merged kind of doesn't exist, can't do anything. We are able to touch the coals as many times as you want, but you have to get the switch correct, which when you have 2 people is a little bit easier.
Another nice puzzle skip here. I'm a big fan.
Got it.
And I think a lot of people skip Firewalk in solo because it is done.
And it doesn't really save you that much time.
Yep. Are you the first person to do it? I'm pretty sure Rip also does it now, but I think you may have been the first person to do it.
I was the first person to try it on solo because I was it Pokey and Emil, I think, discovered it. That or Scorpion. It might have been Scorpion and Scorpion's partner. And they posted it, and I was like, I bet it could be done solo, and I wish I had never tried it. And just let it stay a mystery.
Too late.
Nice.
Now you know.
Yeah, I had world record after the first time I got that skip in a run. I had world record for about 3 hours.
Yeah, I was gonna say not even like half a day.
Yeah, and then Rip took it.
You bopped Rip, and then he bopped you right back. I don't even think Rip knew that you had bopped him. Like, I don't think it was even like a revenge tour. I think he just fired it up and happened to PB. Hey, Horse.
He was in my stream when it happened.
Was he? Okay.
Yeah,
So maybe
Rip
it was a
and
little
Seeds
bit
were
of a
there.
revenge tour.
Well, I think they had already done the run that would bop me. They just hadn't submitted it yet.
Ah, okay.
Okay, let's go save these moves.
Save the Mies.
Mies. Yeah, I mentioned earlier during Riles' run, Rip has done a lot for the Unravel speedrunning community. He's done a lot of really incredible routing. And he's one of the few people, he and Pokey do it, I think, both. He's one of the few people that runs both co-op and solo, and is very, very good at it. He and his wife, Seebs, yeah, swag jump. He and his wife, Seebs, do the co-op run.
Yeah. Well, and Rip runs, I think, almost every category, too.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, Ray and I don't touch anything other than NMS. There's an RMS category, and then there's unrestricted any percent that just has, more chaotic tech. And we do NMS because we like the fluidity and the
Consistency.
the aesthetic.
I mean, consistency.
Of the tech that's in NMS. For the same reason that one of the solo games I run is Link to the Past. And the only category I run in Link to the Past is no major glitches. Despite the fact that if I wanted to beat the game as fast as possible, I run unrestricted any percent, and the game's over in literally less than 3 minutes. So, but for some reason I run a category that takes an hour and a half. But I enjoy it more. Hey, Panga with the bullets. There's a box in here.
Cool, we're gonna hide in a shed full of bullets while there's a fire coming for us. This is a good idea.
In a wooden shed.
In a wooden shed. Yep. I just leaned forward and pointed at my monitor like y'all could see that.
I do that all the time.
I love you so much. You absolute goose.
Honk, honk.
Honk honk.
All right, one more chapter.
Yeah, we are coming up on the final chapter, which I think there are, during the puzzle section, they're going to use Zoops to get through all of that. But this final chapter is quite a bit, for the platforming sections, the same as it is for the solo run.
Yep. Yeah, the rapids, there's no difference. There's no difference in the rapids. The only thing maybe that we do in the rapids differently is if I get myself into hot water, pun intended, Ray can kind of bail me out. I can zoop back to Ray if I'm thinking I'm going to land in fire. So there's a little bit of safety built in, but for the most part, I do the whole rapid section by myself.
You also do this entire opening by yourself.
Yes.
Hey,
Yeah.
Brooke.
There is a speed tech that we call partner swings that I don't think you guys do at all in
No,
your
we do
run. That could be employed maybe in this opening and in the rapids, but they are a little bit finicky. So partner swings are where you have one Yarny anchored to a point, swinging from it, and then you have the other Yarny unmerge
Snake.
and swing from the other Yarny who is anchored.
So instead of swinging from an anchor, you're swinging from the Yarny, who is swinging from an anchor.
Which just really messes with your momentum.
And
Like
it can give you
resist.
insane momentum.
Uh-huh.
But they're pretty tricky, and using them in the rapids can sometimes just send you in the completely wrong direction if you haven't practiced them a lot, or halfway through the rapids if it's the right one.
Anyway, I hope no one really cared about that puzzle because we didn't do it.
Yeah, that puzzle is the worst, and I'm glad you.
And we don't have to do it anymore.
We used to do a skip that actually took longer than the real puzzle just because we hated that puzzle so much.
Yep. Yeah, there was a half skip that included intentionally getting tangled and then resetting a checkpoint that was slower than the intended solution for it. But I hate the intended solution so much that That's what we did.
We just ate the time left. We didn't care.
I did see how
Yes.
chat is enjoying the fact that now on this last level we're going, the opposite direction. Instead of going from left to right, we're going right to left.
Yeah, suddenly right to left. They don't even do that puzzle, just stair step over it.
Yep.
We don't do this next one either.
Yep.
We don't really do any of the puzzles in this chapter.
I mean, we are interacting with puzzles.
Yeah, but we're not doing the puzzles. We're just jumping over them.
Okay, and we're gonna stop here for a second.
They have to get that checkpoint. If they don't get that checkpoint, then the game doesn't initiate the rapids when you pull those levers. It actually just loads you back onto that screen if you skip that checkpoint. So
Then you just have to pull the levers again, but it takes an extra like 20 seconds.
Right. We got the rapids music.
Yeah, and then a lot of the time, because we've skipped so many checkpoints, we don't get like the music triggers, so we just get that weird ambient music all the way to the end.
Yeah, the weird, like, ominous, I'm not really sure if it's happy or sad or what music that is throughout most of the first half of Chapter
Yeah.
7. That's
Which is-
usually what we're hearing right now, which lends a very different mood to this part of the chapter.
yes.
So it's always nice when we get the rapids music for the rapids section, because now it's like it's triumphant instead of just like weird.
Sable in the chat puts hands on puzzle and then walks away. I solved this.
Yeah, pretty much that, yeah.
Yeah, basically. Gotcha.
Nice. So now we have double jumps.
So this section here, I don't know if I mentioned this when Riles was running. This section here is the first of 5 consecutive screens that don't have a checkpoint. So I'm gonna try really, really hard not to die because it takes me back a really long way.
But I didn't like that.
Can't believe you got that.
Not that all.
One thing that people are kind of messing around with in this, technically, both Yarnies get a double jump every time they're in the air. So you can double jump and then unmerge and double jump again. Thank you for demonstrating. And we haven't really found, to my knowledge, any super useful applications for that. But it's probably out there.
We do it on occasion. Again, if someone needs save, if he's running and it's looking dangerous, then I can unmerge and double jump and then he can merge back onto me, and then that's kind of a nice safety here.
Yeah.
I wish
Yeah.
there were a New Game Plus where you could play the whole game with double jump.
Oh my gosh.
That's my
Yeah,
biggest
rip.
wish for this game.
Rip talking about the fact that you don't get double jump until the last 5 minutes of the game.
It's not
it-
fair.
It's not fair at all.
That'll happen in Unravel 3.
Right?
I am so
Please.
desperate for an Unravel 3.
The developers are in the Discord for our.
Yeah, at least one of them is. Yeah, Mike
Yeah.
Gill. Shout out to Mike Gill. He hangs out in the Discord a little bit. Really good follow on Twitter too, especially if you speak Swedish, which I don't. But like half of his tweets are in Swedish, so I don't know what he's talking about. But I'm sure he's really funny. Sable saying this is a good run. Sable, I don't know.
We didn't start a timer.
I forgot to start my splits at the beginning of the run, so I have no idea how this run is.
I won't tell you.
Cool.
I have the stream open, but I'll tell you at the end. But yeah, when the developers first popped in, they were like, "Oh, we had no idea about Zeus. That's so cool." And then they said, "Yeah, there's one thing that none of you seem to have figured out yet, but we're not going to tell you what it is."
Which was
and they-
very mean of them.
And then left and haven't spoken.
They've said a couple things since, but they have never alluded to that again. And so we've since discovered partner swings.
No, we knew about partner swings by then.
Well, no one had really talked about it yet. So it might be that, but I don't think it is. So there's something in this game that we don't know about. The
We knew about
developers-
infinite wall jumps, which you
Yeah.
can only do with a keyboard, so it only works on PC. We knew about that already. I got it.
So there's something. We just don't know what.
So we talked about some of these collectibles are hard if you want to run 100%.
including this one
Here's the worst one.
right here
Yeah,
at the
if you
very
miss
end
this,
of the
it's
game.
Just
over.
went right over it. No idea how to get there. Okay, good luck.
And time.
Time.
Nice. Nice.
Riles, what was the time?
It's not quite on stream yet, but maybe.
Okay.
Looks like about a 101.
Is what now? Okay, we're good. Ray has it open on her phone, but mobile Twitch has like a huge delay,
So
right?
I'm at 10:30 something.
So when she showed it to me, we had not yet hit our PB time, and I assumed we eclipsed our PB time a long time ago. So I was a little bit like, oh man, if this is a PB and I don't have splits running, I'm gonna be so mad. But no, we didn't PB, we're good.
But yes, very good run.
Yeah, very good run.
Very, very good run. And,
Thanks for the GGs, everybody.
and
So that
in
was
the
Unravel 2, 2 times.
Yeah.
We're not done though, because we have one more Unravel 2 to come up here in a second. But real quick, just a couple quick announcements real fast. So, these hotfix shows are brought to you by viewers like you. If you would like to have ad-free viewing, consider using your Prime Gaming account to support the weekly GDQ hotfix shows. You get a free Amazon or free Prime Gaming sub every month for free. You can use that too. We would love for you to consider using that to subscribe to the GDQ Twitch channel. Also, don't forget information on all of our hotfix shows are going to be available at gamesdonequick.com/hotfix. From there, you can find out more information about submitting your runs to any of our weekly shows. And of course, we're not done with Unravel 2. We're not done with our runners or our commentators. We have one more little treat for you coming up here in just a little bit. Stay tuned. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Bargain Bin, show about speedrunning games all under $20. My name is Midnight Vesper. Couple quick announcements before we go into this final segment. Summer Games Done Quick 2021 online. The prize submissions are, in fact, now open. You can go to gamesdonequick.com to find out more about submitting prizes for the event. And, of course, Frame Fatales, the all-women speedrunning event, will be returning on August 15th to the 21st with Flame Fatales. You can go to gamesdonequick.com/framefatales for more information on the upcoming event. And now let's go ahead and continue on with our beautiful little all challenges category here.
All right. Okay, so we have loaded up a different save file that already has everything completed, which is why our Yarnies look a little bit different now. So these are the challenge levels. There's 20 of them, and the reason you complete them is every level you complete, it unlocks a new head shape, or body shape, or eye shape. The eyes, honestly, there's a bunch of them. I can't tell the difference between most of them, but we really like playing with the head and body shapes. It's like they're super dope. So that's why you should do the challenge levels. But there is a category on the leaderboard for all challenges. Ray and I have never actually submitted one, but we do know all of them, so we're gonna do them now. And they don't fit into the greater plot of the game or anything.
Don't worry about it. They do.
Well,
they do.
they do.
Ah, man.
Yeah,
We're rescuing other Yarnies.
All right, that's fair. Yes.
Yeah.
Which is why when you get to the top of the lighthouse at the end of Chapter 7, there's so many more Yarnies there. Some of them you continue to rescue, some of them you already have rescued. So, yeah, there's that. Fair enough.
But they are incredibly difficult to do, let alone figure out.
Yes. Yeah, really complex. Will you tie the knot? Thank you. Really complex puzzles. Like this one, we had to look this solution up on YouTube. Wait for that thing. Really complex puzzles, really difficult platforming. And some of them we have to do completely as intended. Like that one, there was no cheating. I say cheating, no exploits. Cheesing, there you go, thank you. Some of them, we super break. We break them wide open. Like for one of them actually, one in particular, if we were playing by the
NMS
rules, the rule set of the run that we just did, NMS, would not be allowed because it goes out of bounds.
But there's not currently any sort of break. It's just all challenges.
Yeah.
And like I have not completed all the challenge levels because I kind of just got fed up with them when I was trying to do them. But they are, some of them are auto scrollers, kind of like this one. You just ride a brick on the way down. Some of them are avoid the cigarettes until the level is over, basically. And then some of them are puzzles. So there's a good variety throughout the challenge levels. They're all fairly short. There's just a lot of them.
And there are a couple. There's two specifically that Riles mentioned are just all you do is avoid cigarettes for a certain amount of time. They're really hard. I don't consistently get them. So I'll give them like 2 or 3 shots and then I'm moving on because I don't want it to turn into a huge time sink. But hopefully it goes well.
Yeah. And you cannot access the challenge levels until you complete a chapter. So every time you complete a chapter, there are those cutscenes we skipped. And in those cutscenes, the little Firefly Navi light opens up the challenge levels. So there are certain challenge levels associated with each chapter that kind of follow the theme. But
That's bad.
there you go.
Cool.
And I've never seen Ryan and Ray do this before.
Yeah, we've never submitted an all challenges run. I think there might only be 1 or 2.
Yeah, well, and so
Submitted by anybody.
I'm curious because the one that I have watched on the leaderboard, they start at the top of the lighthouse and work their way down. Because
Well, I
you
think
can
if
do
you
them
start
in
at the
whatever
top-
order.
I think if you start at the top, you can zoop your way out of bounds and get to one of the other challenge levels without actually going to the lighthouse, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah,
well, yeah, I was
maybe.
just
I
I was
think I've
just
seen it.
curious if you guys have found that it's easier to start at the bottom, or is it just
we just
this
haven't
is where
done
you're
any
starting?
lighthouse routing is the actual answer.
Okay. Very good zoops there.
Yeah, right. Again, Ray is like
Yeah, you're supposed to push those pipes back and forth and kind of jump your way up one section at a time, and we just don't do that.
Ray is so exceedingly good at the speed tech in this game. I would be lost without her.
Yeah, but
both in life and in
I
gaming.
can't jump from one platform to another, so it's out.
We cover for each other.
But yeah, so we're getting to see all the different head shapes as we finish the.
So I'm gonna exit that level because we just beat it. I don't know why it took us back into it automatically.
Probably weird checkpoint.
Oh, I
logic.
was bunny hopping as it loaded.
Yeah.
So I probably just jumped into it before the
Probably.
screen even loaded up. Okay, now we go up to the second level.
Yeah. I guess there are no bonus levels for chapter 1. So
Correct. There's also no medals for chapter 1, I think. Is that right?
Correct. There's no. We talked earlier about how there's like gold, silver, and I think bronze medals for completing chapters in a certain amount of time. Chapter 1 does not have that.
Oh, this one is super aggravating as a solo player. You have to avoid that cigarette, and it's just
It's quick, so you're
It's
supposed
a
to
pain
go
in the
all the
butt.
way across and move the box all the way back, and we
Yeah.
don't do that.
And you spend a lot of time hiding out. What
Is that one of those little
background?
Roomba lawnmower things? It's one of those
It
like
might be.
it's one of the robot lawnmowers.
Is that what it was?
Yeah. I think they're pretty
Weird.
common in Sweden and around there.
I want one.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
You have to run them like daily, otherwise your grass gets too long. But this is not what
Worth
the
it.
people are here for.
That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, you're an old man dad. Of course, that's what you're
Yeah.
here for. Lawnmower.
Okay, this is one of the ones that I'm only going to try 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, so in this bonus level, you have to swing around and avoid this cigarette while you wait for that wheel at the top of the screen to get to the end. If you fall, you're in the water and you're probably dead.
No, you are dead.
Yeah, there's
You can't get out of the water.
Okay.
And now that the wheel has reached halfway, it's going to release a second cigarette.
Yes, and
Yep.
so now there are 2. The wheel does speed up a little bit, but then you have to get
The way
to
the timing
end.
always works out here. Yeah, first try.
Nice.
The way the
Nice.
timing always works
Nice.
out is the way forward opens as I'm making my way back to the left. That's always how it works out. So I have to survive a little bit longer than I should need to.
Yeah.
And that's always when I die. I always die at the very end.
Yeah. From a game design standpoint, I do really like every time you rescue a Yarny, they start chilling in the little hub for the challenge area, which you'll be able to see all of them on Ray and Ryan's because they've already done all these challenge levels, but they just come and hang out. Oh, that was weird. I've never seen
Yeah,
that.
it starts at a really weird
Made it.
angle there.
It looked like it was like
Yeah,
almost
it's
like a
kind of cool
cutscene.
actually. It's like kind of cinematic.
Nice.
Well done.
Yeah, we zoop like little skips there. That's not a big game-breaking zoop, but it does make it just a little bit easier to get through all those cigarettes for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we talked about zoop shifts, and that's what most of these, well, all of them, are. Zoop shifts we use to get additional height or additional distance. They have replaced. There are other like zoop variations. There are like zoop boosts, and other things like that. Zoop shifts
Do all
replaced all of it, and zoop shifts are a lot easier to execute than some of the other variations that we used to use. Come on, man.
Someone asks how do you zoop. So anyone who wasn't here earlier when we were discussing how to zoop, so there's two different mechanics that we're using simultaneously, basically. There's a merge mechanic. Oh, I'm shooting against the right wall, aren't I? Sorry. There's a merge mechanic, which we use all the time, and Solo uses all the time. And there's also a grab mechanic, so I can kind of hold on to my yarn while Ryan swings, right? So if you turn off auto grab, then you manually grab. So I can say, yes, I'm going to hold you and now you can swing. And I'm going to let go of you and you can swing a little bit farther. And you can also merge. If you merge and grab at the same time, then this weird zoop thing happens, which was not intended. The devs didn't know it existed until they watched a speed run.
Yeah.
So we don't know why that's what happens, but
Yeah. So practically speaking, it is on a PlayStation controller. Whoops, yeah, thank you. On a PlayStation controller, it's L2 and triangle at the same time. L2 is the grab button. Triangle is the merge button.
but whatever console you're on, it's grab and
Yeah. On
merge.
Xbox, it's LT and Y, I think, right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you have to go into gameplay settings and turn off auto grab, or else it doesn't work.
We're gonna skip about half of this level.
Oh, I didn't make it. Oh no.
gotta
Okay,
reset.
we gotta reset the level.
And so something I'll add, because Ray and Ryan did mention they're on a different file than they were for their normal speed run. And something that would have to be taken into consideration when you route 100%, the lighthouse is different after you beat all the chapters. And so the normal speed runs, any percent NMS, whatever, where you just go through the chapters, you have to start from a fresh file. Otherwise, lighthouse movement is different. And so you might notice the lighthouse is not super dirty because it does get cleaned up as you do chapters.
There are paintings on the wall that get more color revealed as you get more of the collectibles in the levels, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. And those are the things that were being shown in the cutscenes that we skipped after every chapter. The little fairy light thing that we asked what its purpose was. Sorry, yeah, that was my bad. The little fairy light thing that we asked what its purpose was. One of the things it does is after every chapter it flies around and puts more color in the paintings on the walls. Got it.
The intended
super
solution
complicated.
for that level is super
I don't know
fun.
how to do that one.
It's really
Yeah.
difficult to do. I had to look it up. I couldn't figure it out by myself. But you catapult your Yarnies up to that area. That big thing in the center can turn into a catapult, and you launch your Yarnies across the screen.
I enjoyed how the yarn just like flew like a bunch of feet in the air as soon as you both landed on top of the house.
Okay, so that was where the yarn kind of like, flew up in a big thing. That was because while Ray was still mid-zoop, while she was still in the air on her flight to me, I jumped and did a little flippy. Anyway, and we mentioned that kind of in passing. Got it. We mentioned that kind of in passing. That's how you do flings. You have to do a zoop while the Yarny being zooped to is doing a little, we call them victory flips. But we don't do flings in the NMS category. So in the spots in the game where I know the Yarny is going to do a flip, generally I avoid jumping. Because what can happen is if you do a flip mid-zoop, the yarn has a much greater chance to tangle. So we don't do it. Anyway, sorry, someone was asking, is this a two-player game like It Takes Two? Yes. This is yet another Joseph Fares reference.
It can be single or co-op.
Yes,
which is
you
great.
you can play it solo. It was designed to be played with two people, though.
On PC, it launches Origin, not Steam.
You can purchase it in Steam, but the Steam version of the game, the Steam version of the game just launches Origin. Because this game was developed by Coldwood Studios,
but published
by EA. All right, here's the other level where I'm not going to spend a ton of time trying to get this, because it's another one of the just run away from the cigarettes for a long time.
This one's is honestly, I think, a little bit more difficult than the one where you swing around.
The key I have found is trying to bait them into really, really, really close.
Yeah, but then sometimes they do things like that, where one of them just goes a different direction for some reason.
They're smart. That's the problem. They're really smart.
But the good news is they stop chasing.
The good news is, once the path has opened, they leave.
Yeah.
Which is weird. That doesn't happen in the other one. Can I get up, please? Thank you. All right, first try, both of them.
Nice,
Well
nice.
done.
Yes, so, It Takes Two and A Way Out are both, I think, two-player only games, developed by Joseph Fares of of Hazelight Studios. This developer is Coldwood Studios. They're Swedish. Unravel 1, or just Unravel, was a one-player game, but Unravel 2 introduced co-op, and it was designed to be a co-op game. But because a lot of people coming from Unravel 1, I'm sure we're going to want to play it, you can play the whole thing solo, which is what Riles did a little bit ago. The first thing tonight was Riles doing a solo run of the game.
Yeah, but it is absolutely designed to be a co-op game, and that is how it plays best. So I would encourage anyone who wants to give it a try casually to try to find someone to play it with. That's kind of, when you beat the game, there's a message from the producers that is definitely about working together and being a team. And
yes,
the
very first line in the post game, got it. Little text scroll is "Love forms bonds between us," which I have always liked quite a bit, actually.
Yes.
And the good news is, if you are a gamer and the person you would like to game with is not really a gamer, this is still a good game for you, because there's a lot of this game I don't play.
Yeah, we call it backpacking, when one person just kind of hangs out, not playing, while the other person does all the platforming, which is which is kind of how Ray and I do it. But again, Ray does all the speed tech.
Oh no.
Ray does all the speed tech, and I do the platforming, and together we're a good team. I'm gonna wait for this to go back.
Scary again.
Here's something that I should plug, because I was told I was allowed to. So Riles and I both run this game, obviously. Whoa, that was close. And Riles
Which again,
is
we're brothers.
Yeah. So the neat thing about tonight's stream, Riles did the solo run earlier. Riles is my younger brother. Ray is my wife. So this is kind of a whole family affair. This would be nice if I could get this. Riles and I run a couple of the same games, the other one being Final Fantasy 1, which is a one-player game, and we run the same categories. So that's a little bit of a sibling rivalry. And we race it semi-frequently.
Oh my gosh.
Come on.
What is happening?
I'm having trouble with this.
One more try?
Yeah.
Okay.
We race it semi-frequently. There is a big race coming up. There is an annual Final Fantasy series relay where they play not every single Final Fantasy game, but most of the Final Fantasy games. Riles and I are both running Final Fantasy 1 in that relay this year. So that is...
The relay starts on Friday.
Yeah, it starts on the 28th. Final Fantasy 1 isn't until the 31st, depending on your time zone. It's for us, we're in the central time zone. So for us, it's like 11:30 at night or something on the 30th.
Oh my gosh. This is a tangle.
Yeah, this is a tangle.
Oh,
I
no.
don't think we had any of these during our...
Okay,
All right,
we're done.
Yeah,
We're
I'm
done.
bailing on this
We're moving
level.
on.
That's weird. I usually don't have problems with that level, but it was... Ugh.
You get the idea. There's some swingy stuff on the other side, but it's fine.
Yeah.
We haven't done...
Yeah, Final Fantasy Relay is
Yeah, we
on
did all.
RPG Limit Break.
No.
No, we
Thank
didn't.
you
Sorry,
for
we didn't do any of these.
saying that.
Nope.
Yes. Thank you, Richard. Oh, this one. All right,
This one's super hard casual.
This one is also, well, and it's difficult not casually, too. All right, here we go.
It's extremely hard to figure out casually.
There you go.
Yes.
Made it.
Nice.
Very nice. Yeah, Relay is 4 days of Final Fantasy. There are 3 teams. Team Choco, Team Mog, and Team Tomberry, which obviously Ryan and I are on different teams. But I am excited to have yet another opportunity to beat him in that game. So
What's really fun about this is that Riles is better at the FF1 run, but Ryan has the better time.
Yes, I have the better time on the leaderboard. Final Fantasy is very RNG heavy. It's very, very RNG heavy. So sometimes things like that happen where someone who isn't as good as someone else will put up a better time because they just get a better run. And that happened with me.
to top it all off, his run that PB'd,
Yes.
his character name.
My
his
party
character
names were Riles is the worst.
Yeah.
Because I'm a mean older brother.
Yeah, so now when I'm actually trying to get a PB in the game, I make sure that my character names are This Guy R Suck. Just in case.
I do actually feel really bad about it. I didn't expect to PB. It was a practice run. That's the wild thing, is I was doing a bunch of safety saves because I was practicing for the relay, and then it went really, really well.
Yeah. I do really enjoy it. The first time Ryan and I raced FF1 for an event, it was pretty close, and we got to the final boss. And Ryan didn't save before the final boss and wiped. So I won by default, basically.
Yep. Okay, I want to talk about this level a little bit. Casually, this level is really, really hard. You're supposed to hop onto, I think these are bullet casings.
Right and then left and then right. You have to kind of go back and forth.
Yes, you have to cling to the side of it, and then jump over and cling to the other side, and then cling to the other side, and then you have to drop down and do it on the bottom row as well. It's really, really, really hard. The first time I beat this one casually, I actually used
The slow-mo?
the slow-mo ability that we didn't once do in the speedrun, because why would you use slow-mo in a speedrun?
Mm-hmm.
Instead,
You're kidding me.
This is the one. This is the challenge level that if we were doing it by the NMS rule set, that would not have been allowed because that was out of bounds. Clearly.
But it's very fun.
But it's very fun and it's so fast.
Crap.
I do enjoy
It's my
that.
favorite.
I don't remember who found that you could do that, but it was
Probably Rip.
probably Rip.
Okay, that's all.
That was all.
Yep.
Except for the one that we gave up on.
Well, yeah.
So there are, 2 more chapters of challenge levels left? Or,
Oh yeah.
right?
No, I think just
think
one
just
more
one.
one more set of 4.
Oh, are there no challenge levels for chapter 7?
Nope. This is the last one.
There's 20, so it's 5 sets
Gotcha.
of 4.
So this is the last group of them.
Mm-hmm.
And this is another one that we cheese pretty good.
This is another one that's very complicated, like not tying and hanging on to each other.
Yeah.
And, like very.
This might be
complicated.
that might be another one that we had to look up on YouTube the solution for. Oh no.
I'm, still kind of angry about that out-of-bounds skip you just did, though, because that level
I think a
sucks.
lot of
Isn't
chat
it
is
great?
actually.
Isn't it great? I love it so much. It's such a good skip.
Chad enjoyed it too.
Yeah, I think Chad is a little bit
Yeah,
bit
I think
annoyed
so.
with us.
I'm not mad about it at all because I hate doing it casually. It's so hard. It's so hard.
These are the challenge levels for chapter 6, which, if you recall, was a level that was on fire.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a lot
Yeah,
of fire right now.
Yeah. Uh huh.
This one's hard.
Lot
This
of
one's
fire.
really hard.
So in this one, you can touch the non-flaming side of these, but every time you touch something, it disappears.
So
So
you're supposed to
the
figure out like a maze.
the go fast strategy, though, when you have Zoops, is to just get rid of everything in your way, and then do a really big swing.
I don't know that it's necessarily fast, to be honest.
Hey.
Where is that fire even coming from? It's just less annoying than trying to remember the way through the maze,
Yes, much.
to be quite honest. Here's the thing about us. We're speedrunners, but we're also lazy.
Oh no, what the heck happened?
Hey.
Oh. Alright, this is another one that I'm not gonna put
One more?
I'm not gonna put tons of time into.
One more.
Oh, probably a couple more,
Okay.
I see someone in chat asking what's the concept of the bargain bin show, which I might not be qualified to answer this. But oh, there's a command for it. Look at that. So thank you, Midnight Vesper, for getting that.
Of
Someone
course.
said this is 75% off on PS4. Is that what I saw?
Yeah,
Yes.
I saw somebody say that.
So
So-
exactly this game.
Extra bargain bin.
So if you are interested, now is the time. Where's it? Where are you going?
I don't know. I'm gonna try and get that one. Nope.
Oh yeah, I'd get rid of that. There you
Hang on.
go. Sable, I'm not going to yeet him into the fire. I'm going to cast him into
Cast
the
it
fire.
into the fire. We've been making that joke a lot lately.
You got it. You got it. I believe in you.
Nope.
Oh.
So close.
If that thing weren't there, man. Oh no!
Oh no!
Oh.
Okay, this is the time. This is the one.
I believe.
Made it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
Such a big swing.
It's fine.
I believe.
We did it. Almost done. Almost done.
All right. Yep. Just and that's I think the hardest one in this bunch.
Maybe.
The last
I-
one can be really hard, but I've gotten it pretty consistently.
Yeah, I think we've got the last one figured out.
The rest, which I have no idea what you're gonna do to not actually do them. The rest I think might be harder to figure out.
Yeah.
But like this one right here took me a very long time to actually figure out what I was supposed to do casually, but it's fairly easy once you get it.
Yeah,
Okay,
I want to
this
go.
button,
I
this
want to
button.
go right, but there's a hay bale in the way. Luckily, I have fire, and hay is flammable.
Ooh, barely made it over.
And now the hay's on fire.
Yeah, so there are those burning logs falling from the top, and you just have to throw them.
Yep, that's all.
Not as easy as
Nice.
it looks, actually, because the burning logs have weight.
Yes.
So the trick is to, when you're swinging them around, don't move. If you move your Yarny at all, if you
Then
try
it like
and
totally messes with your momentum.
Yeah.
And pulls you off.
it will carry you much farther than just like one step. So I take my hand off of the right side of the controller so that I'm not tempted
No,
to try
the
and
left side of the controller.
yeah, that one. Anyway,
You're 30.
yeah,
you know what directions are.
I've fallen into the fire a lot.
Okay, this is the last one.
So yeah, you're supposed to do some really complicated swinging through here with these cigarettes getting in the way.
You're kidding.
This is faster, assuming it goes well.
We do the second half of it correctly, though.
Yes, we do the second half.
Yeah, this is a lot of very difficult platforming on this and avoiding cigarettes for this bonus level.
Oh no!
Whoa.
Oh, you're dead.
Oh, oh, oh.
Oh.
Dang.
Sable, I think that's the best thing you could do with as a creature made of yarn. Just throw burning fireballs.
Obviously.
I mean, it seems to be extremely inflammable yarn. Fire
Sometimes.
resistant.
Yeah,
Got it.
so that's the other big question. What is this yarn? Is
Boom.
it acrylic? Is it wool? What are we working with? But
What kind of yarn is it?
An excellent.
I don't know, man.
was that the last one? When's time?
That was the last one.
Yeah, when was
And that's all 20, except for the one that we skipped.
Well, you saw all of the challenge levels.
You saw all the challenges.
Yeah,
You didn't see
that's time.
But you saw them all.
And that's everything. That is all of Unravel 2. We have shown you the entire game.
Yeah, pretty much.
Awesome. So if anyone was interested in wanting to know more information about this or Unravel 2, where would they go in terms of speedrunning?
So we have a speedrunning Discord for the game. Feel free to join that. I don't have a link for it, but if you find...
It's on speedrun.com.
Yeah, it's on speedrun. Yeah, if you go to the speedrun.com entry for this game, the Discord is linked.
Our tutorial is also linked in resources on
Yes,
SRC.
we have a tutorial on YouTube. If you again go to the speedrun.com, or if you just find me on YouTube, it's this guy Arsic. I've got a 7-part video that covers the NMS route, which is mostly up to date. So the barrier of entry for this game is really low. It's a really easy speed game to get into. Again, it was the first one that we ever learned. So really good, easy speed game to get into. And then as you get more comfortable with it, there's crazier and crazier things you can do. But yeah, please play this game. Again, it's 75% off right now on the PlayStation Store, which is like, you have no excuse not to buy it. You're saving money. You have to. And it's such a good game. It is one of my favorite games of all time, and my favorite speed game by a mile. So yeah, feel free to join the Discord, please. It's a small community, but a really lovely community. Everybody's really passionate about it, and we love talking shop about it. So yeah, come find us.
Yeah, and if anyone was interested in following any of y'all, where would they be?
Don't follow
So-
me. I don't stream.
Yeah, so Miss Ray has a Twitch account, but she's never streamed.
Don't follow my account.
She streams on my channel, which is This Guy Arsic, twitch.tv/thisguyarsic. Yeah, I do a lot of solo speedrunning, but at least once a week we try and do some co-op stuff.
We usually co-op on Saturdays. I usually stream on his channel on Fridays.
Yeah, and Fridays, we call it Fry Ray. Ray takes over the channel and she streams by herself. So you get to see both of us every week, but that's where we hang out.
And then, of course, follow Riles as well.
Yes, yeah, we shouted him out earlier, but do follow Riles, please. He streams, and I imagine, Riles, you'll be streaming more this summer, because, again, he's a teacher, so now he'll have a little bit more time to stream, hopefully.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Yeah. All right. Any other announcements? Any shout outs? Anything else along those lines?
No, I don't think so. Thanks so much for having us. I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm really glad we got to show this game off on GDQ.
Yeah,
which
this
so
is
cool.
like my head is still spinning from this. This is so cool. We're on GDQ. What's going on? But yes, thank you so much, everybody. This is such a great thing, and thank you, GDQ, for all the work you do, and bringing so much attention to speedrunning and raising money for charity and all that stuff. It's fantastic. You guys are lovely. Thanks so much for hanging out and chat and watching us. You guys are lovely. Yeah, thanks everybody.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And speaking of the GDQ Hotfix and all the shows, information on all of our Hotfix shows are going to be available at gamesdonequick.com/hotfix. From there, you can find out more information about submitting your runs to any of our weekly shows. And speaking of that, we have some more coming up here in a little bit. But tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern, we're going to have the first step where we're going to be seeing an improv race of Super Mario Bros. 3. Come see how Hobbs and Keys fare in this classic NES game. But before that, we have Speedruns from the Crypt coming up in just a little bit. We're going to take a small break. Great time to hydrate, stretch, walk around. But come back here in a couple of minutes for Speedruns from the Crypt and our new host, Ecdysis.